Right, shall we start?
No, let's just not.
Let's just not this week. Fuck it.
Yeah, fuck
Nah.
it. Let's just keep them waiting.
Alright, so goes.
I'm gonna pull the trousers up. There we go. I'm getting into the business. Oh, he's fucking gone.
Yep.
There we go. Oh shit. I'm tired. Speaking of being tired, welcome to episode 15 of the Off the Shelf Hobby podcast. I'm sleepy. And I'm joined by the other dwarves.
I'm not a dwarf. Get out of here.
Sorry, I'm joined by
So
the
that's
rest.
Grumpy.
That's Grumpy over there. Yeah, there's Grumpy. George is the dead one.
The dead one.
And George and
forbidden eighth dwarf.
yeah, there is an 8th dwarf, and he's a spectre.
We don't talk about him.
We don't. Talk
He's in
about
every. He's in every scene.
Yeah, can you not see him? What the fuck? It's rude.
Just got turn the exposure way up.
Just all the way up.
It's like an
only...
X-Files ghost photo, and if you look at it at a right way, you see Bigfoot. So there's an 8th dwarf. I just
Scully,
can't
you're not
see
gonna
it.
believe this.
It's
It's the same people who are like, oh, if you look at the sky in
like a
Aladdin, it says
circle,
fuck in it.
I mean,
this
Does-
tower looks like a penis. It's like it does, yeah.
It's true.
7 things Disney doesn't want you to know.
Revealed on a hobby channel. And John's here too. Hi, John.
Day
hi.
of your soul.
Oh, Christ. So,
In a world.
this is going to be, I think, a bit more of a chill episode. We threw loads
No,
of...
okay.
I had loads of rants and looking at new rules, and because GW are going to stop doing shit for like 2 months, it gives us time to calm
yeah.
down.
Yeah, so what is going on with that? What's
Right.
the official
So, okay.
stance on that?
Their official stance, and this is what we've kind of seen that this is coming, is that they are stopping new products being released, so no new pre-orders, until further notice. They haven't given us a time, but
said like a
we're
couple
gonna guess
months
that like they don't know what they're doing, of course. Considering obviously a few things have happened, the Suez Canal being one. Just everything being way more expensive and harder to ship in general, supply lines being fucked, and
Spray paint not existing.
spray
All the
paint's not
spray paint-
existing.
All the spray paint mines have closed down.
Exactly, the Mephiston red one especially. But also the fact that a lot of people who got Curse City reported very, very out of what's the word? Out of routine for GW's quality. And they're having lots of production issues just in those boxes, and then
Wait, really?
yeah,
Oh,
no, there were
okay.
loads of people who are having issues with like shitty molds and broken models and things like that, just arriving sealed. Plus, also Be'lakor, the fact that for some reason the instructions were wrong, so they have to throw a PDF of the instructions up.
Oh,
Whatever. That happens all the time.
it was like one of the things, right? That's
No, it's that on top of each other. I think GW got to a
Yeah.
point where they're like, yeah, we need to stop.
we
We need to slow down.
We need to cool it for a second.
I
And
don't-
And
I thought you know about this
considering
stuff.
they've been releasing things consistently since, like, what, October?
Yep.
Like, there's been basically no delays, and then now we're starting to see the
mean-
effects of it.
2 delays. There's been 2.
2 delays. Right, there was one which they told us about, and they gave us a
Nurgle
date.
and Saga of the Beast. That's it.
Yeah, I mean, they delayed... when you say no, do you mean the Death Guard book?
Yep.
Yeah,
That's
okay.
same. All the green people.
The green men.
Yeah.
But yeah, there was like... To be fair, there were about 2 to 3 missed print build guides in a row. Interesting. But
Yeah. I don't.
they've slowed that down. They've slowed it right down, and they're like, right, we're gonna sort our shit out. We'll get back to you. But the problem is, they say it's a short pause. I'm gonna guesstimate that we're not gonna be getting any pre-orders until the end of May. That's my guess. Right, so we give it a month. But they're trying to show
Yeah.
stuff off in the meantime, and it's like, if they had told us before Curse City that they were planning on doing this, it would make more sense, and people were like, okay, we're willing to wait for Curse City because we waited all this time anyway. But they threw Curse City out the door. They aren't able to meet the demand for it, as we've discussed in the previous podcast. Everyone got mad, and then now, in addition to them trying to put out any fires of like, this ain't coming back, so okay, so we know that why it's not coming back is because you're having production issues. but you've told us
Yeah.
3 weeks after the fact.
I got a question though.
Mhm.
What sources have you got for like City being damaged and stuff?
Lots of people on Twitter. Lots of people on
Oh.
Twitter posting pictures of it. Of their
Okay,
boxes turning up with shit in it. Like,
Right. I can't. I was just
it's
trying to
not,
find through.
it's, what's the
Well,
word?
not that. It can't be that bad then, right?
No, it's probably not that bad, but it's a problem. You know, it is a consistent thing. There are trends within that. One of the extra things, especially with the books, is because weirdly they don't print the books in the UK. They do the
No, they
models
don't.
in the UK.
It's why the Seraphon Battle Tome was delayed.
Yeah, because it's
forever
printed
ago.
in China, and obviously,
Yeah.
considering after watching Wormwood doing all their vlog stuff and talking about like, there's no point for some things getting it in their own country because they're paying maybe quadruple the price
Yep.
than they would be if they get it from China. You know, it's like, okay, right, we
Yeah.
wait a couple of some extra time, we get it out of China, we save so much money off of that, and most likely, considering the volume of books going worldwide, they're printing them in China. You know, we know that for a fact.
Yeah. It makes sense.
But then after the Suez Canal thing, and then pretty much the 10% of the world's GDP was fucked until
Yep.
they cleared that out. It's like, that's going to cause some problems because then everything's been delayed by so much
What?
time.
Look, I just don't get it. Why they just didn't build a ramp or just planes?
Just get the boats to just fucking glide across it. You know, why not? Beefy Kirby, how you doing? But yeah, no, the delays have happened and they are now on full damage control. But it's like, hey,
guess what though?
there's models you can't buy.
No one's playing Warhammer anyway, so
True.
It doesn't matter. This fucking delay at the end of the day.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Like,
we could
it's-
But I
almost
want
play-
new plastic.
We could almost
Yeah.
play Warhammer.
yeah, it's the people being like, oh, you know, I'm so mad I didn't get Cursed City. Who the fuck are you playing Cursed City with?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a
I
it's a
get-
game for up to 4 to 5 players, and you could like, oh, because
Four
but me
players.
and my wife was like,
The
right, I
general
get
is
that, I
garbage.
do. That's fair because you
You-
can play 2-player. Otherwise, it's the
But
same thing with
you-
board games.
You want time to paint it, right? I get that. I bought
Yeah.
Blackstone Fortress like a year ago just to paint and then play a little bit, and then it's now not at my house. What else is?
Yeah.
But like, it's whatever, you know.
Yeah, these things,
it's
it
pointless stuff
happens,
to
and
buy.
it's just
GW have done very well to keep on afloat with good consistent releases up until this point. It's really like what we got. It's gonna be like 3 weeks of downtime as opposed to what it could have been way worse.
It
Like,
could have been way
way
worse.
worse.
definitely. So at least you know we've got that in the case, and I would hope that this solves some problems, considering obviously supply issues for everything right now is already fucked. I didn't even realize that spray paints were a problem until I saw Firestorm posting an advert saying, by the way, we now have all the colors back in stock after like
Yeah.
3 months. And I'm like, what? You
Like,
fucking serious?
I was trying to get the varnish for the sisters.
Oh, that's why you wanted it off
window.
of one of us. Yeah.
I couldn't get it anywhere. I tried to buy it from Amazon, I think, or eBay, and I got an email from the company like 2 days later, just like, we can't ship it internationally
Mm.
because it's an aerosol, and I'm like, what?
What?
I didn't even know that was a thing.
Yeah. There's some things that have really fucky with customs as well.
Well, aerosol laws have changed, like, a month ago, was it?
Oh, right.
It's pretty recent. Yeah.
Like, is in the UK they changed recently and got much. I guess stricter is the word.
It's Brexit.
Yeah.
It's
Safer.
It's things coming from Brexit.
Well, that's the thing. Even with I was ordering spray from freaking mid England, and they were like, "Ooh, yeah, no. If you're if you're ordering that with other stuff, that's gonna have to come separately in a special kind of truck."
Yes. Yeah.
Really?
Damn.
Yeah.
Yeah, the safety for aerosols has gone way up.
Oh, okay. I mean, I get it, but also like,
It's one of those things you don't expect, and like, I mean, it's also the reason of you. It's hard to even buy aerosol just anyway, unless you
was
are.
there Was there a great aerosol catastrophe on like the M4 or something? Like what happened? Why?
Probably not that, but it's it's
Like,
just
yeah, but like why? It's weird.
taking as much safety into consideration as possible. I don't know the specifics, obviously, but these things happen.
Do you know what I
this is
reckon
why-
happened?
Go for it.
I reckon. A long time ago, someone said, "Should we put in precautions for these aerosol cans that are this big?" And someone went, "Nah, it's fucking tiny. Who gives a shit?" And then, 30 years later, someone went, just looking through our safety stuff. We're not doing anything for those aerosol cans. And someone, yeah, they're tiny. Not when you got a truck of 2,000 of them.
Yeah.
Or more.
We should do something about that.
And to be
Yeah, 'cause
honest,
they've all got warnings on them, like, don't leave them on the windowsill, they'll explode.
I guess like even America like has really fucking strict laws when it comes to things like aerosols. Like if you've got like multiple cans and stuff, you need like a registered fucking cabinet to be able to keep them in for safety reasons. And it's like, okay, ours isn't as bad as that, but fuck me, like it's getting to that point. And I guess this is also why a lot of people use alternatives when it comes to primers through an airbrush, or even just normal aerosol cans, but not specifically GW ones or model ones, but there are ones available from just off-brands. You go to like a B&Q or a Homebase or something, or a tool. What do they call them in America? Hardware stores. That's the one.
Home Depot.
Home, the depot of home.
Yeah.
Target.
And get shit from
the
that.
theme.
So there's just so much.
That's what my Final Fantasy character looks like, a Home Depot employee.
Was he like Max Carpentry or something?
I've just got the big orange apron.
Well,
Hello, are you working on a project this weekend?
It's
the
great.
spray that I recently got was TT Combat.
Yes.
The people who make all the MDF stuff, but they've got a new line of model sprays.
Yeah, because I remember Firestorm talking about them, and they there was one which was like a super matte black. That was in a really tall can. I'm like, ooh.
So I got. It's what I'm using for my Drakari.
I need to try and get some lighter. Probably I think I need to try and get Wraithbone and some grey, because as I've discovered, trying to do with my new paints, trying to do bone color over black is a really fucking bad idea.
Oh. Yeah.
Yeah, I rediscovered that today. To be fair, the model, which I'll probably show, I could.
Well,
I'll show it at another point. Looks
what base
okay.
paint are you using for bone?
I'm using what? What do you mean?
What's the base paint you're using for
Oh,
bone?
I'm using Scale Colors Thar Brown. I'm not. These are not
God,
GW
yeah.
paints.
Shit. I can't help that. I hate this. I use Rakoff Flesh, right? That's what I use. Which is not,
I don't have
brown.
Rakoff Flesh, but
Rakoff Flesh is the best for it.
You want Wraithbone, Skeleton Horde.
No, I fucking hate Skeleton Horde.
Sorted.
I hate Skeleton Horde.
I love Skeleton Horde.
It's so grimy and so weirdly off-colored. That's why the sepia is a better thing for me.
Look at
But
that.
Well, yeah, no, but that's why Skeleton Horde is good though, right? Because you the skeletons, not nice clean.
yeah, but
bone.
I want
Stuff
clean bone. That's what I'm going
filthy,
for.
disgusting old.
Because
decrepit
I'm trying to
skeletons.
do
I love it.
Bone Reapers. It's the whole
Right,
like
yeah, to be
regimented skeleton army. Like right, those
got
I
the
want to be
someone's
like quite
polished.
clean.
No. Yeah, don't use Skeleton Horde.
You get the well-constructed skeletons, and
Yeah.
I'm just like, get those gunk
Get that gunk out
Bones.
of here.
in a pile. Just bring me the ghosts instead.
Just put them. Let me give me a bag of ghosts. I'll sort something out.
While we're
Sack.
while we're talking modeling, I've been painting these Drakari, and I got to the point where like a couple of them I can start putting on bases. I have no idea what I want to do with bases
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
because nothing seems appropriate for them.
Put them on decking, like they're on a ship.
Big old pirate ship.
Gravel. It doesn't really matter too much, right? Because every planet has dirt and gravel.
Yeah,
Yeah,
If you
all
want to be basic with it.
my
Never fancy
Porky
it.
boys are all gravelly.
They're
and I've
more
got a shit ton of
sandy
gravel
though.
left. No,
your
I
boys. Oh no, you
switched
redid
over
them, didn't you?
to
Yeah.
the gravel.
You
Yeah.
put them on sand because they're pirates. And they're storming the beaches
Of course
I'm
they
tempted
are.
to do sand
for the
actually.
booty.
Sand would be cool. I mean, a good sand one would be either you obviously just get model sand or a Grelin Earth, which is what I use for my Tempestus. It's a
You
really
can get
nice
pigment.
one.
You can get yellow pigment or like sand-colored pigment. Which
Yeah.
is good for it
Also valid.
because it's basically sand but finer, so it works at the scale of the model.
Ooh.
I'm not sure if all black on top of sand actually looks good. Oh, I don't know. It might be cool.
Well, I was gonna say the main color of the army is a dark blue.
Ooh, okay, yeah, that works. Never mind. Yeah, that works.
Yeah, it's the I'm gonna hit
Ideneth
Cantor
colors.
blue.
Ooh.
So it's
I love Cancel Blue.
well because it's oh I guess I say main color of the army, main color of the Cabalites,
Yeah.
the Cabal, because it's the poison tongue Cabal,
Oh, nice. Okay.
which I've finally settled on.
Is that the one you're?
And then for the witches, it's got to be Red Grief, because
Yeah.
They
they
look pretty
seem
sick.
to just be the best. I mean, I was looking over because I was just finishing up our video. Almost, I've got 2 minutes left to. Well, no, not 2 minutes, like 5 minutes left to put a couple of images in. But anyway,
Mm.
I was just listening to that earlier, adding some images in.
Is that the one where we were talking about the whole the bike spam one? Was that Red Grief?
Well, that's the thing. Red Grief. It's. 1 second.
You've got the book nearby.
Book, I think, is literally in frame.
It's right in frame. He means it's the thing framed above him on the wall.
Mm. Let me just
Um,
take off my prized possession.
Right, there you go. Caught the Red Grief. So,
That's what I'm doing with the Advent
Mainly-
Codex. I'm nailing that to the wall and framing it.
mainly, +2 to all advances,
Mm.
and re-rolling charges
That's so good.
for anything.
that's
with
pretty
the witch
spicy.
cult keyword.
What's their stratagem?
So scary.
Their stratagem is the consolidate into your transport.
Oh yes, that one. Right, I
Very
remember
good.
now.
Oh,
That's
Yeah,
really funny.
But all the advances on it, and your vehicles already go flat 6. They go on flat 8 on their advances. That's pretty good.
It's kind of nutty.
Mm. It's
But
nice
anyway.
that you've settled on a scheme. Because I know
Yes,
you were really
so-
kind of panicking about that.
Well, it was more a case of like I couldn't decide between Obsidian Rose and Poison Tongue. Obsidian Rose, I do think, just like if you're going 100% full competitive, I think Obsidian Rose is definitely the way to go.
Oh, 100%. I mean, in
Um,
my opinion, definitely.
For
But
the
I
extra
think...
rows and so many extra, like I've experienced with Death Skulls how important it is to have that extra reroll per squad. It's incredibly powerful.
Oh, yeah. It's the same kind of
But-
thing as dealing with Salamanders. That's why Salamanders were so good. That's why
Craft World
a
are.
lot... Craft World are have that edge. What's the... Lucky Gits for Orcs?
Yeah, Death Skulls.
Death Skulls.
Death
That's why a
Skulls.
lot of competitive Death Skulls Orc lists have a Death Skulls detachment in there somewhere, just because
You
those
could
those rerolls are free.
So I was gonna say, I think it's great. I think it's very competitive. I
It's not
like
you, though.
Poison Tongue.
Yeah, Poison Tongue is
Um,
cool.
And more importantly, I really like their stratagem, which is the redeploy
Mm,
at the end of the deployment phase. Well,
Yeah,
deployment
they're
of
really
everything.
good.
So
because the fact that you can make it so you can poison vehicles and shit is so funny.
yep.
However,
That-
I will say at least the competitive ones, at least the competitive lists that I've seen, especially because they came from the Meta Watch articles from GW. Obviously, Nick Navanti, I think that's how you say his name. Obviously, one of the top 40k players on the world circuit, and Scary from Scardcast. Both of them, for their cabals, picked Black Heart.
Yeah. Well,
Probably
Black
because
Heart
Vect.
is-
Because Vect.
Well, because of their stratagem as well.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Vect.
That's right. Yeah, Vex isn't
It's
a
so
person.
fucking crazy.
I
But a
love
lot
the
of them are really liking
fact it's just a
Hellions.
rule.
I think
Oh,
you're right,
Hell-
John.
Hellions are
Hellions
absolutely
are
the way to go.
insane.
I love
Hellions
them.
Yeah.
So
15
good.
Hellions in this one list.
Hellions are the Green
Oh,
Goblin
the list that I've
flyers,
designed
right?
has
No,
no
they're the bikes.
Hellions are not the Reaver jet bikes are the bikes. The Hellions are the Green Goblins.
Skyboards.
Are they?
They used to
Have it-
be.
They
They
don't
used to
have
be
a
not
picture
that
of them.
great. Yeah, because in the Gangs of Comrade, it was the one that people were like, yeah, it's got some Hellions in it, but the bikes.
Yeah.
But now they're like, I wish I could get
Reavers.
rid of those.
Reavers, that's what they're called.
Yeah. But
That's the bikes.
I was gonna say, yeah, no, the list that I have in mind has like 20 Hellions in.
Yes. Actually, that's the point, because when you made that video, I need to make a list as well, so we can actually attach it to the video.
Yeah, no, I mean, if it's not done by tonight, it will be done by tomorrow.
Oh, sick. So I can push the Tom Layton chat to next week. So that means I can actually give
Awesome.
myself some extra time to edit the fucking thing. Speaking of content, let's have a look at some content.
Oh,
We'll go over some extra stuff. We'll get the GW talking about GW stuff out the way, because we were already talking about the Orc boy. We may as well talk about him a little bit more, or at least just to show him off, because we do cover news here of what little there is. And if you give me a
News?
second to actually get the
More
web
like-
screen up.
Holds.
There we go. Right, there he
Anything?
is. We've got an Orc. What are they called? They have a name. It's a beast snagger.
The Beast Snaggers.
They're not as durable as a knob, but they are bigger than a boy. So this is the Primaris boy.
what's the thing,
Primare
right?
Orc.
These aren't replacing Orc boys.
No, they're not. That's
No,
why they're
fucking
Primare
pointless.
Orcs.
It's so
Fucking
weird.
pointless.
It's so strange. As just
I
a
don't
concept.
see what role needed to be filled there.
Yeah, it's like, why do they
Oh,
exist?
because a squad
not
of
every-
knobs is an elite choice, isn't it?
Right, but
Well, are
it's
these
not-
going to be
it-
troop choices?
These are probably going to be troops. I'm going to guess these are going to be troops.
Think
So you're
this
gonna
is
have
really-
like boys in squads of 30. These are like squads of what, 15, 10?
Probably,
You're gonna
yeah.
have-
Right, yeah, but then they're still going to have a leadership of 7.
Yeah. Well, they're gonna have like mob rule.
So yeah,
It's
let's
just-
let's,
it's
let's
just
kind of
a
break
case
let's
of-
kind of break down what they say, right? So
Boys are perfect.
so
Boys
da, da, da.
are perfect.
While they're not as durable as a knob, they can certainly swing their choppers just as hard, which makes them especially prone to lording it over boys that they charge alongside. Although the Beast Snag's adherence to the old ways of Orky culture makes them an ideal fit for snake bites, so probably they will, considering snake bites is going to be the new big thing for Orcs, that they're going to get bonuses for that. But also, they can be found in almost every clan, and it can be a good laugh seeing the Beast Snagger boys. They are boys, Beast Snagger boys, trying to harpoon
Yeah.
giant tanks.
They're just a
They're just
are
a bigger
unit that
boy.
They're a unit that exists to bloat the fucking range. Just fucking get rid of boys and make new boys. You don't have to have boys and boys.
Well,
They
I
definitely
think-
need
Boy.
a new boys kit for sure.
Yeah.
I,
but they
Yeah.
You
don't-
know what?
These
I've
don't-
worked out what
these-
this is.
What?
This is to if ever you wanted to take any anti-vehicle stuff for Orcs, either you were taking claws,
Yeah.
or you were taking ranged options.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is so you can say almost like a unit of tank busters, melee. I reckon that's what it's going to be.
So you're not gonna be like,
Because
I
it
don't-
says they swing
yeah.
harder, they harpoon big tanks.
Yeah.
You're not gonna want to take a whole unit of tank busters. Instead, you take like a squad of boys with some heavy melee weapons.
Yeah. I guess that makes sense. And
To
they
break
also
things.
have like a pistol. They'll probably maybe have a heavy weapon. And as Zell points
Oh,
out,
yeah.
it's probably their T4 with a better save.
Well, it said
Uh,
that
how-
they're
and
as
two
How
wounds.
strong are
as-
knobs? How strong are knobs? Are they 5?
T5. I'm pretty
No,
sure.
that's strength.
No, knobs are T4.
Oh no, they're T4 better strength, and they have a slightly better save.
So these are going to be strength 5 orcs, boys.
Yeah,
Because
because
they're-
I
they're
have a
better
feeling in the new
strong
book, because I think Mikey, I saw Mikey from Hellstone War Game talking about this, and they made a very good point of knobs are going to get they're going to get buffed. Mega knobs are going to be buffed harder, and these are going to fill the spot the knobs then left. So
Yeah,
knobs
I'd
are
be fine with that.
probably going to go up to 3 wounds. How many wounds do they have currently? 2.
I think so, yeah.
I think they're 2 wounds. So those will probably
also-
get 3 wounds, just by guessing.
I don't think they-
Mega knobs will be, the better version of that with a better save. These will probably still be T4 2 wounds.
Actually, do you know what it might be?
Hmm?
It might be a case of because the knobs are the sergeants, effectively for each squad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It might be a case of they say, let's get rid of the exclusively Nob squad, have these guys instead, and you can have a Nob version of one of these guys leading them,
Mm.
and then Nobs can only be effectively in charge of a squad.
I don't think they do that.
No, 'cause
They
knobs unit will
a knob
exist.
a unit of knobs does fill a purpose. It does fill a very good purpose.
These
It's a good way of having power claws. They are small enough, they're tough enough, and you can stick them in a smaller transport. Like, great. Obviously, yeah, but then you're like, okay, I could take loads of knobs and just put them in a transport, or I can take mega knobs and deep strike them, and maybe they get a charge. So like there is an option there. There is a balance. It's hard to tell what these guys are going to do because we have zero context.
They're just gonna be boys with a better rule attached to them.
Boys probably
have
better
harpoons.
rule more an
That's it.
extra wound
More-
and a
I think
variety
more,
of melee weapons.
They won't have. I don't think they'll have extra wound. They'll just have different weapons and an
Yeah.
extra. Rule.
I think
there's
I
no,
don't
there's
think they
no
can have
reason.
extra wound.
There's no reason for these
I-
to be stronger, tougher, have a better wound.
they
have a better
might
thing on the bow.
they might have a 5-up save.
Yeah, because you used to be able to do that though, right? You used to be able to get boys with 5-up saves in 7th edition,
But
so that
Ard
makes
boys,
sense.
you can still
Yeah.
get them. You can still get Ard
it's a
boys.
stratagem.
Yeah, but this is basically the actual. This is just hard boys. That's what they are.
Well,
Yeah, they
with
might
less
they
armor.
might have
Hard boys
armor
with 5-up.
rule.
Yeah, they'll have a rule to do with the harpoon gun and stuff, but
Yeah,
But
there'll
they're
be a weapon upgrade for a squad, but like,
They're definitely going to be strength 5
because when you got to think
Why?
about, from what I
because they
think,
can swing as hard as knobs.
they have a better.
the knob's quite as
weapon.
durable, but yeah, just as hard. So knobs are T5. No,
Like
knobs are
similar
strength
chocolates.
5. I think knobs should go up to T5. Definitely, they shouldn't be T4.
Yeah.
That was
I'm
weird.
surprised that they're T4.
And
Yeah,
these
they might
guys
not-
would then
they-
fill that slot. Of
They might not do that because there's a knob in the Orks unit and they don't like mixing toughness like that. They just don't.
True.
I
I was gonna say-
guess, but
If they put Immortals up to T5, I would. But like, I'd be weird. If
Yeah,
they
yeah,
didn't
yeah.
put
because then if knobs get changed, then by proxy mega knobs will get better as well.
I know,
And mega knobs are in a very weird position anyway.
We're not gonna know, but all
Yeah.
we do know
We can
is
make some
that
assumptions.
I think this.
I really like
the
it.
the fact that it's not just new boys, it has to be another unit. I think it's stupid.
I think they should definitely at some point do a new boys kit because as we were mentioning before we were chatting,
Oh,
the
there's no point
boys
now.
kit as it currently stands is probably old. Is 20 plus years old. I think it's a really old kit.
I don't. It's weird though. It's not a bad kit at the end of the day.
No,
though,
it's
right?
not.
There's nothing wrong with the boys kit. That is. It would have been nicer to replace it with these because they just look better.
But then
But
also
these
this
are their
is a
own
very
unit now, so,
specific
well.
look. If this was like a more generic thing, yeah, obviously be
Also,
fantastic.
I
But
need
these
to
are
show
like
me-
But
I need
But
to
every
show me the
unit-
back of this orc. I want to see if he's still got that thick gorilla ass.
probably.
everyone
He-
can take these. Though.
He's got.
It
he's
won't let
gotta
me turn
be
around.
just as caked up.
This man double cheeked up on a Thursday afternoon.
Absolutely.
up.
Hella ass.
Kind of
But-
bad though. Is
I
that
don't know
wrong?
if we mentioned this on the stream earlier or if it was just before we started. The fact that this guy's just fresh out the shower.
Yeah, he's clean
He's
shaven.
polished his boots,
Yeah,
He
he's
hasn't brushed his teeth
Yeah.
though.
made sure to get no blood on him.
fresh coat of paint on the chopper.
Yeah.
Uh-huh. Look at how well ironed his trousers are.
Yeah.
And
They are. And
right,
clean.
there's no creases.
Yeah.
Hey, look how much blood. See how much blood is on his axe.
No,
Uh-huh.
he's
He's
fresh.
shit.
They haven't gotten to That's
Yeah.
because they haven't been released. They
Honestly, I
haven't
don't
gotten to
trust them.
combat yet.
Yeah, they're not good fighters, clearly.
He's
Yeah.
He's fired 2 shots of his gun.
That's true. I like the
I
okay.
mean,
I do like the gun because it's like some of the other the orky stuff of just it's the bullets going in, and eventually it will disappear and he won't realize and it will just keep
Yeah.
shooting.
absolutely.
But they also surprisingly
wait,
for a kit
wait,
they
wait.
drilled their barrels.
Those bullets don't go into the gun. They just hang off of the gun. He has
Oh,
ammo.
they're just an ornament. Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
no. He has.
That's the ammo. He's got ammo.
You
can
can
see
see he
it.
has ammo, so gun shoot.
That's true.
Because nothing's pulling those bullets off.
Yeah.
That's how gravity works.
But here's the thing as well. Like it's the fact as well on an heavy metal job that they actually drilled their barrels. So fair play to them. I can't do that because I have very shaky hands, and I also can't be fucked.
I'm just saying.
I would love to do that. I don't have a.
I have a drill. It's all
tiny drill.
It's an absolute fucking ball ache to do, and I always fuck it up. I can never get it like anywhere dead center. So fair play these guys. They've drilled their barrels. Like again, we're getting all this here we go thing. We know the Orc Codex by process of just by thinking it through.
Because of these guys.
Yeah. By thinking it through, their codex is going to be after Sisters. Because we know it's AdMech, Sisters are probably coming afterwards, they were their big release, and then Orks won't be far behind. And then we'll be moving on to things like Knights, we'll be moving on to things like Thousand Suns, we'll be moving on to Gene Stealers and Tyranids. Because we don't have any fucking idea what's going to happen to Tyranids. If Orks, something needs to happen to Tyranids, goddamn. If everyone else is getting an update to their range, Tyranids desperately need it. The Gene Stealers themselves, give us new Gene Stealers, please. I was pulling the pictures, to be able to do the Gene Stealer part, the Tom Layton chat. Fucking hell, they are just awful looking. Mm-hmm. They look disgusting. And I'm like, but the nicer Gene Stealers that they showed off, and like that people have for models, like. Those are nice. It's like, oh yeah, but you get them from a board game. It's like all the people who've been reselling them from a board game or something. Like, shit.
Overkill.
Yeah, the Deathwatch one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's dumb. So they basically ended up repurposing the Gene Stealer Broodlord from that to make the one for Gene Stealer Cult.
Yeah, it's the Patriarch because it's the same pose as well.
They repurposed him. They just changed his pose ever so slightly to be more like.
He's got the brain.
He's about to do it. He's about to do Gene Stealer Jitsu.
Yes. I'm just saying you have skipped an important article. I'm seeing.
Is it Big Tits McGee?
Yes. It's the big old Slanesh one, the newborn.
Yeah. So we have.
Hey, so
Dexessa and Sinessa, which apparently means left and right.
Yeah, they're kind of the. I think they're supposed to be the same thing.
I'm assuming you could run them in a pair, build them from the same kit. Also, because no, hang on, no, their titty is on the same side. Hang on, that's not left and right at all. I've been lied to.
It always is.
Always is. Yeah, we don't know much about these, right? All we know is that they're the newborn, which is basically like some weird Slanesh fucking super demon thing that happened in Marathi. We don't know much about it yet because obviously this book that these are in hasn't come out.
Yes. And I find it weird because Slanesh Demons just got a huge release.
Right, so that's the problem. That's the thing.
And this makes no sense.
Why are they releasing these now? Like, why?
Can you imagine if they just put this data sheet in the Slanesh book and didn't say anything for 2 months?
That would have been at least okay.
That would have been awesome.
That would have been so much better because people would be like, "GW, what is this?" And they'd be like, "Oh, right."
It's annoying, right?
Like, can I use this? Yeah, if you got the model.
It's annoying, right? Because obviously, this is a new model that isn't in the book, and that's really stupid. They could have just waited or delayed or whatever. But it doesn't make the battle tome. A lot of people are, "Oh, man, battle tomes are going to be worthless and stuff after such a short period of time. They're going to need a new one."
This is going to be like 2 data sheets in a Broken Realms book. This isn't necessary.
They're not. They're going to be 2 data sheets that are free on your fucking phone on the app that you probably have anyway.
Yeah, true.
It doesn't. It's less of a problem. It's stupid.
I forget about the app sometimes.
I just don't like. They're really nice.
They're like big ass peacock looking fuckers. They're floating off the ground.
Beautiful.
They're really cool.
Yeah, and I'm curious what the lore is for them, right? Because
hang on, here we go. They say, you'll need to read Broken Realms Kragnos to find out where they interweave with the Seraphons.
That's where you hear it.
So that's where Croak is coming in, and the Witch Hunters specific.
No Croak.
Yeah, that's where it says
they interweave with
Seraphon's venerable Lord Croak and a certain family of witch hunters.
So that's where we're getting a Witch Hunter city.
Wait, all three of those model releases are going to be for the Kragnos book. Why?
Why not? Fuck it. Who cares?
Because those are 3 huge. Well, there's 2 huge
That's the kit,
This-
right? That's one kit.
Mm.
That's one kit. Then you
Yeah.
got Croak kit. Then you got the Witch Hunters. Those are 3 big things, right? None
Yeah.
of those are Kragnos.
Who's the fuck is
Who
Kragnos?
the- who the
I don't
fuck
think
is Kragnos?
Kragnos is a.
It's a god. He's probably a god
Yeah.
of some sort.
Everybody's
Ye-
had a model
Yeah, but
so
gods have
far, right?
models still. So it's just like
Everyone who's had a
Grungy
book has
doesn't.
had a model. Yeah, but he
he's-
doesn't
he's
exist.
not a real god.
I'll bring this up every time. I want a Grungy. One day I'll get it.
Give us a Sigma model.
Give us a Sigma, but like
Give us Sigma held in
No.
hand and put him next to like, I don't know, like a big
a Warlord
horse.
Titan.
No, just like a horse that's like three times as tall as he is, and have
The
him
cool
be
gods
like
who do stuff have
white
models, right?
posing.
Mm.
So this
Yeah,
is
Sigma
like,
doesn't do anything.
the voice of Slanesh and the talent of Slanesh. They're like
So yeah, the talent is I believe the,
The-
offensive one, and the voice is the wizard.
they're the right and left hands of Slanesh, right?
Yeah.
That's the whole point.
That's
Because
the idea.
Slanesh is like kind of a thing now and kind of has power. Really weird.
Kind of.
So in terms of rules, it's almost certain that like you can take one or the other. But
I'm
I bet
assuming
they get
there'll be a
bunch of buffs if you have them together.
there will be a battalion where you get both of them and you get a special buff or something like
Yeah,
that.
the
Guaranteed.
twin
No.
children of Slash.
Sigma is not. Sigma won't. I mean, sure they might be, but they might just say you have to take them together.
I
That-
highly
Sigma does
doubt
that,
that
so-
because that means you
Why not?
because it's only one per
But
box.
they're the same kit.
If
yeah.
if it okay,
That-
that would make
it-
sense if
it
it
might
was
have
if
both
you
of
get
them in a box.
you got a double set and you have to build both from like both there was 2 of them in one box, but you can only build 1 per box. That to me screams you can take them individually.
Yeah.
True,
But
true.
you will get there'll probably be either a thing on their data sheet or you'll get a special
Yeah,
battalion to be able to
Yeah.
you take 2, you take them both. Oh, it's crazy.
I don't feel like they'll necessarily. I don't think this necessarily be a battalion though. They might just get a rule for taking both.
I
on
mean,
the
a
data sheet.
battalion would make sense. It's a very thematic thing to be like, hey, you really want to do this cool theme thing? Here's a battalion. Fuck it. Because at the very
Well, no,
least, it's like
yeah.
you're not forced to take it then either. It's not like a necessary thing. It's like, oh, you could take them together without the battalion, or, you know, a couple of extra points, you get an extra rule, plus them, plus a unit
Oh, yeah,
and a
but-
battalion. Done.
no, that's the thing, right? Why are you paying points for the thing that makes these 2 things good together? You just shouldn't have to.
Mm.
So they'll just check out the data sheet. It's basically free. It doesn't need to cost anything. I wouldn't be surprised if they do that.
Yeah.
Um,
It's yeah.
they're cool. They might have their own sub faction honestly as well.
That would make sense, considering who they are. Who they're
Yeah,
supposed to be.
I was going to suggest that because you get some
I love what
fancy
it is.
things with Nighthaunt with if you take Alinda's allegiance ability,
Mhm.
or if you go Emerald Host, Lady Alinda counts as your general even if she's not your general, and Reikenor counts as your general even if he's not your general if you take Reikenor's one.
Oh, so potentially in a battalion, these could both be your general.
Yeah, you don't get command traits.
Sub-
Yeah.
But for the case of Lady Alinda, she has to be your general to use her command ability. So her
Right,
being
yeah.
able to be your general for free is huge.
That's
Mm.
That's them though fixing a mistake.
Yeah. But with Reikenor, it only counts for like the Night Haunt command ability and ranges on other command abilities, I think.
Mm.
But no, they're cool.
They're cool, yeah.
Yeah.
I honestly, if they were going to be, I still think, honestly, if they were going to be left hand, right hand, they should have swapped the titty around. That's all I'm saying. There is a design flaw here.
No,
But damn.
they're still
What?
supposed to look like Slanesh.
Yeah, but what's wrong
Dude.
with still having a flat on the other side? Like, just flip it.
Dude,
Just
They're right
mirror.
and left. They're right and left hands, not right and left titty. All right, calm down.
It's fucking. They missed out. They missed out a key opportunity here.
Because they did make sure they held the staff in opposite hands. So
Yeah,
Oh, that's
you know what?
that's
You can't-
true.
you can't
They are-
hold them.
Supposed to be what, reflections of each other, right?
Yeah.
So you can just put them opposite each other and be like, there you go, same pose.
Mm, yeah, I guess if they were also facing each other in a mirror, the titty would be on the same side.
Yes.
What? Like, look, I'm just trying to think. Yeah.
As if there was a mirror, not literally.
Yeah, as if there was. Yes. Right. Moving swiftly on. Let's talk about a blood
Some of
knight
the
for a
Sludge
sec.
models do have mirrors, which is really funny.
That's true. Let's have a look at a blood knight. Oh, look at it. There it is.
Fucking great model.
Oh, I love it.
Sick.
I'm probably buying a vampires. I'm probably gonna start vampires. I'm gonna
Just on the basis
hopefully
of,
fucking
There's-
God forbid my Underworld's warband turns up, the vampire one, because I actually bought it. I bought it at the same time as the paint set. Paint set came, and I got an email saying, by the way, the other things due to production issues may be delayed. I'm like, oh, how long am I gonna wait? We don't know. So I just have to keep checking my email, and I really want to make a vampire faction, and I wanted to kind of like work kind of mixture with like a Realm of Life vampire, because I think that would be cool to kind of go
Life
alongside
vampire
my
would be
Realm
neat.
of Life Bone Reapers.
That'd be kind of neat.
I want this.
I'm gonna just say this now.
Mhm.
The chances of when the vampires come out, the chances that they'll be able to ally with Bone Reapers are very slim.
I don't know. I want them to fight each other.
Oh, okay, good. Because
Fluff in my head is like, oh, they would straight up fight each other.
no. Like the fluff, I think the lore is going in a direction, and it's going to be
Oh,
The
all the
Gash
death
has lost
factions.
power over
Yeah,
the
all the death
Mortarks.
factions fight each other. Yeah, that
Mhm.
makes sense.
and that the Gash is going to then focus his hatred probably way more on them for
Mm.
betraying him, because that's how he be. That's what he's like.
We've got the net
Nagash has got a
conflict.
theme of getting betrayed and exploding a lot, so you know.
It is what it is.
It is what it is. Just, oh, I really want the vampire kit. Like, it's
Yeah.
so fucking cool.
I like him as well because they're kind of like they're very similar to Chaos Knight, the newer Chaos Knight models they did,
Yes.
which is good
Those are really nice.
because it makes them look like they exist within the same world then as well,
Mm.
in a way.
I can't remember what color scheme I was going for, because I have so much things that are like red based, but Fire Slayers, my Kharadron Overlords being half green, half red, a lot of red on my Death Watch and that kind of thing.
Full
I don't
silver,
I don't have much
Plutonium,
blue,
but
but I
nothing.
am going to be painting all of my ogres blue,
That'd be cool.
and obviously my Tempestus blue. I'm like, okay, I can kind of go
Pink.
nuts with the
yes, full silver,
Or
like
purple?
chrome, silver shiny Blood Knights, like fucking. Yes, we are
Oh, like
honourable Blood
Gondori,
Knights.
yeah, like silver and blue, like the
Like
the
Bretonnia.
hallowed knights, but
Like
reverse
Bretonnia.
it.
Yeah, like Hallowed Knights.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but like
like
hallowed
Hallowed
knights, but
Knights,
reversed.
Yeah.
That'd be cool. Like, because I'm in my mind, I'm thinking Gondor.
Like, and you can have them be very like vain, right?
Yes. Yeah,
Very
that
like,
sounds great
yes.
actually.
Whereas in shiny and grand,
So, the helpers arrived, shining over the hill. Why are they eating everyone? Oh fuck.
they're what flashy at courts wish they were.
Yes, I'm actually very
Yeah.
down for that. So I know I really
no,
I'm probably
not
buying
even the
Vampire Army.
Not even the reverse of Hollow Knights, just Hollow Knights basically.
Yeah,
Just silver, like just silver plate mail,
I think that could be really cool actually.
and you can go ham with the blood, like like the different families because
Yeah.
they're nobles, right? You could go full Bretonnia with it. Fuck it.
Oh yeah, yes, I love that
Yeah.
idea. I'm stealing that. Fuck yeah.
It's being given to you.
I know it
Yeah,
is
I
being.
mean,
I
I'm
am
not gonna-
receiving this gift. I'm putting it in a box. So when my
I'm not doing
Crimson
it. I
Court
can't
turn up
afford it.
eventually, when the Crimson Court turn up for eventually, then I will start on them and actually try them out. But
Like, I'm not gonna get them. I've got so much fucking Sigma I want. It's fucking painful.
yeah, and I mean to be fair, it's the likelihood of us playing with people who have like a full vampire army. I don't know whether Tom would wants to be on camera or not. So we'll have to, because I'm pretty sure he has vampires, doesn't he?
No,
No,
he has
he has Slanesh.
box of skeleton horde.
Ah.
They start collecting. It's just gonna be vampires because I bought it from Secret Santa, and it was funny.
Oh, fair enough. Yeah.
I'll make meta getting vampires. So we can.
True, but he does live all the way up in Scotland. So if he ever comes
Yeah.
down, that'd be
Yeah,
great.
yeah,
That'd be a great
yeah.
time.
Oh look, it's Craftold Eldar probably the guy
It's an
who's
Eldar
operating a
Simon
turret.
said.
Yeah,
Bop it.
it's a poppet.
Yeah.
This Korea. I saw a meme which was just this abomination created Slanesh, and it was a boppet.
Yeah.
It's like, yes, this makes sense now.
Like,
What do you
I
think
hope
this
it-
is, Alex?
it's there's a few things it could be.
Frisbee.
It reminds me of the. It's an engineer. It's got a small hand
Mm.
thing. Reminds me of the guys on the vibro cannon and stuff. I'm hoping it's.
Is that
this
the little
guy
cannon that Guardians get that they carry around?
No, it's the big fucking cannon they can get.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, they've busted. They're amazing.
Mm.
That's what I'm gonna get at, though. I'm hoping this is the new Guardians, and this is the guy who controls the turret, or something. He just has a gun like this, and he's a little panel. He's like pew 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 pew.
Yeah.
That would make sense. 'Cause there is no guy. The guy who controls the turret for Guardians has like a fucking welding torch pipe thing. It doesn't make any fucking sense.
Mm.
So that would be better. Do I see them doing new Guardians? No, I don't, because they're not doing new Orc Boys. It'll probably be like, yes, Defenders. They're like Guardians,
But
but
Primaris with 2 wounds.
these ones, their guns have a longer barrel. They can shoot at 14-inch range instead of 12. and
Weirdly, they're slightly taller than normal Guardians.
this one has a frisbee, and this means that when he shoots this turret, he can shoot it twice.
Do you know what this reminds me
Did
of?
you just say this one is a frisbee?
This one is it's frisbee. Look at him.
He's got a frisbee.
No, he has a frisbee. I thought you said
Yeah,
this
I
one
know.
is a frisbee.
I know what I
It's a
said.
frisbee with a
Okay.
soul stone in it. I want to point out because this little
It's not
this
soul
little
stone.
thing in the middle reminds me of
It's
one of
not
those
soul stone.
rollerball mice.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's exactly what I was thinking.
That's what he's
It's
doing.
it's just got it's the trackpad on the.
What do you think it is? How do you
On his
move a
laptop.
turret around?
Yeah, he's just like just wiggling around. Oh, there they are. Boop.
Other possible things is it's a Nexus-like thing. It's a new Autark, and because the Autark is the commander, and he had the whole point of the Autark. He used to have an ability which was like +1 or -1 to your reserve rolls. He had more control.
Yeah.
He's got like the command point regen. He is like a full-on battlefield commander. He's not like a captain. He's like a captain. But
Can
he can do he does what a captain does, and he does like what a
Farseer. No.
no
Lieutenant.
what a Nexus does, right? He's
Oh,
both.
right, yeah,
he's
yeah.
like he's the guy leading you at the front, but also the guy who plans everything and very thoroughly, and Eldar have a plan.
Can we entertain just for a moment the idea that this isn't an Eldar-based thing?
Well,
Okay,
it's Tau.
it's
I
not
was gonna
Tau.
say,
There's
No,
too
not
many
necessarily.
fingers.
Not necessarily this Tau, just what else could it possibly be?
Nothing.
It's a Inquisitor who stole some Eldar shit like the last
Oh
one.
no, they've done it before. Don't say that.
Yeah, because
Don't
remember the
say
one that
that.
released for Psychic Awakening, and it was an Inquisitor with a Shuriken pistol,
Yeah, and then
and then they did that.
did
They
the
showed off the Shuriken pistol. It's like, oh, it's like, look at this. It's like, oh, new Eldar.
They did a full entire Harlequin as a sister battle unit.
Who? No. The Sister Battle is a Harlequin.
But
Yeah.
she can't.
She's a
You can't
Harlequin.
take her in a Harlequin unit though.
She is a heretic. They would fucking kill her on sight, but no.
And
she's
they, to be
working
honest,
back with
in
sisters.
the comics she's based off of, they did kill her, but she came back to life for some reason. I don't know why. And then she's like, right, I'm about to fuck off into the webway then. And they're like,
She's like
cool.
a psycho, but not a
Alright.
psycho.
So I want to
She
go back to how
is.
this is
She is like the most extremely powerful psycho.
But
But
she's
then-
technically not a psycho.
Could this possibly be a Sigmar thing, though?
No.
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 From
It's too- it's
the
too
hand
small,
alone, the way the hand is shaped is an Eldar Guardian, and you can tell. Genuinely, I'm not
I
even
trust the
saying
Eldar
that.
man.
It's the weird knuckles. That's and how it's very much lines going down to the knuckles.
The
and past, and
teardrop
they're very
shapes on the
visible.
buttons as well. It's a very Eldar thing.
Yeah. I'm just hoping it's the Guardian replacement because I hate
The Guardian
Guardians-
kit needs to be updated.
Guardians have a good look,
Mm,
but they could look better.
yeah. We can only hope. Right, there's not much else we can say about that. There's pretty much not much extra. I mean, there was some animation
other
stuff
than-
talking about.
It makes me anxious because I'm just know I'm just gonna get disappointed. So I
Yeah,
don't trust you. I don't trust them.
yeah. So let's have some chat about some other stuff. This weekend, if there was no pandemic, if there was none of that nonsense, would have been the first event for Empire of the year.
Yep.
Why just remind me?
You don't have to bring it back.
And I think, in honor of that, we should have a chat about getting into LARP. Or at least
Yes.
getting into Empire.
Get
Because
in.
John
I'd
will be,
fucking-
hopefully, at some point, be joining us.
Off the shelf.
Off the shelf,
Onto the
House
field.
Torroir. Smashing up the front lines and beating up Winter Markers.
No, that.
With
I mean-
Knockout outside.
I mean,
I mean, we do monster against them a lot.
That's
so,
true, it's
and we
very
do
fun.
Fucking, and they a lot of them die.
so I will say, for the more learned of the two, of the three of us, because I have no fucking clue when it comes to Empire
Oh,
stuff, and you guys know a lot more. I'll say, why don't you give us a rundown for the people at home, because this will end up turning into a video.
Alright,
What is Empire?
I feel so underqualified. You have no fucking clue.
I mean, yeah.
All right, so I'll do Empire, and I'll say what I'll say what it's about, and I'll say what I actually do when I go. It's a large LARP event with like 1,500 people.
Roundabout.
Roundabout,
No,
I think it's more.
1,500 people is how many people like go to the battlefield.
Oh,
Yeah,
there's
that's
way
to say
more
that
than that then.
They don't have an estimate. That's the estimate they have that they know
Yeah.
at least is a fact. It is
It's
more.
over 2,000 at the very least.
Just about. There's different nations that work for different briefs, of like oldie fantasy styles. So there's like
10.
there's 10. There's like Varushka, which is like kind of Russian-y witchery vibes, or Dawn, which we're in, which is like Bretonia. Basically, there's Wintermark,
Yeah,
which is
half
kind of
Korean.
Vikings, kind of, but like they're not all dead on that. They're not like as cliche. There is more to it because there is a setting.
So
the general
Viking,
point,
Saxon, kind of.
the general
kind
point
of.
is you've got a brief, and essentially like for example, the Wintermark brief is like a description of Viking-esque features. Essentially, you've got like Viking-based kit. You can change it slightly, and you'll fit into Wintermark or some other.
The
similar
brief
one.
is
It
more
essentially
based
says
on the look.
yeah. It's essentially like they are this, but they are not Vikings. For example, with what's it called? I think it's Navarre. It's like they're like inspired by Rangers, like from Lord of the Rings or things, but they're not.
They're not elves.
They're not tree hugging wood elves.
Yeah, they're
They
not.
are. They're a nation of people, right? They have a brief to them.
Hmm. But yeah, but like the whole point of I mean, in general, just the game is you play a character just like you would in any RPG. You have stats or skills like you would in any other RPG, right? But it's with people, and it is immersive, and there's it's 2,000 people who are all in character, all in costume, with tents everywhere. They are eating in character. They are shopping for stuff in character. It's very much is just a different place,
You
right?
get to escape for a weekend. For several
yeah, it's
weekends.
very
of the
good for
year.
that. And there's also then battles and skirmishes and stuff where you can go and fight orcs, because there's a full like crew who are like man and that kind of thing where they
They are
look
nuts.
dressed as orcs and stuff to do stuff for you. And there's some crazy shit there. There's yeah, they're good at that. And there's like massive prop stuff that you can see, like
The war rhinos at the last
and
event we
ice
went to was really
giants.
cool.
Yeah, and they're making like sure. Obviously, they don't look like a real rhino, but it's good enough that amongst all of the other costumes and stuff, like there is a level of
Authenticity.
No, not that.
Immersion.
Yeah, kind of immersion. That's not the word I'm looking for, but yeah. Suspension of disbelief, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, you're willing to go. Yeah, that's a war rhino. Fuck it, that's real, because there's literally like it's. I think we were there once, and there was someone with someone who did reenactment, and they were crewing for the event, and she was just talking to us like, man, this is so much. This feels more real than reenactment by a fucking mile, because reenactment never gets this many people fighting.
I'm
And plus
guessing
with-
as well, reenactments
And
have
it's-
more rules.
They also have
Yes.
more. They also have like kind of like a
Kind of.
set script at times, because if it's like
And the script is.
if it's a historical battle, you know what side is going to win.
Yeah, it's also
Yeah.
historical battles are like performances, right?
Yeah.
This isn't. This is people actually fighting for an objective and then for their lives and trying to save people, then drag them from the back lines and heal them and so
And
on.
there's
Everyone has their
emotions
own
and
story.
characters involved, and
Yeah. It's good, and there's a lot of politics as well, and there's like different. You can do magic. You can do if I woke up there, there's lots of stuff. You can do
There
priest
is
stuff.
a lot.
There's a whole fake like theology and everything. It's interesting. What I do is I talk to people and drink.
And,
Yeah,
Because
and
at the end of the day,
spend lots of money at gambling.
it's, there's also like fake money.
Yeah.
You can it's like a festival at the end of the day as well.
Yeah.
There's people who go who are just basically just bad. It's just a chill weekend festival thing, and yeah, good. I would recommend it to anyone.
So, and I
Mhm.
think that, because I've been seeing it a lot, and you've got several Facebook pages that are linked to LARP, and specifically of like on the nation that you're based in, and I really like this nation. I think I've seen a lot of posts recently, which is I'm looking to, I want to come to LARP. I don't know what to bring, or I don't know where to start, especially when it comes to costume, because there's a lot of things that when you think of LARP, you think that sounds expensive.
Yeah,
It
definitely.
is.
But there is ways to do it very cheaply.
But so is any other hobby.
Exactly. There are ways around
Yeah.
things. So I think it might be worth having at least a discussion and just talking about LARP for the remainder of the
Yeah.
podcast, probably. And be like, these are the things that we've done. This is how, in terms of getting into the hobby and understanding how things work, and what you can do as a player turning up to give yourself the best chance of having a good time. Obviously, sometimes you turn up and it's not for everybody, but I think considering for me, I was never a fan of camping. I was in part of the Scouts when I was growing up. The last memory I had of properly camping was going to a big Scout event, like all the Scout troops from all over the UK turning up to one place. There was a freak storm, there was lightning, there were tents that were getting set on fire, and caught up in a storm.
Fire.
I know. I distinctly
Yeah!
remember an image of, like, looking out my tent. There was a kid next to me. I cannot remember his name, but he lived around the corner from my house. He was a lot younger. He was like 3 or 4 years younger than me. He was sitting there, he was crying because he was fucking terrified. And I look
fuck?
outside, and then there is just, it is like as if the rapture has come, storm coming over, lightning flashing off in the background. There is a tent that is on fire, being pulled by the wind and is just rolling through a field. I'm like,
That is sick.
and I immediately at that point I'm like,
seems like a scene from like a disaster film.
yeah, it was very much like that. I'm like, yeah, I'm not doing. And I called my parents and be like, because I was like 14 at this point. I'm like, yeah,
Mom,
can you come get us? It's like, because shit is whack right now, and they obviously they shut down the event. We all
Do you know
then
what
left.
event it was?
I can't remember.
Okay.
I honestly can't. It was like one of
I-
the yearly big Scout celebrations.
Yeah,
they
I mean,
do.
the two main ones is Windsor. Is that what we
No,
used
it
to do?
wasn't Windsor. Actually, no. To be fair,
And
it's pretty cold.
I went.
The one
to,
I went to was every 4 years, I think.
Yeah, and I went
Yeah.
to the Essex Jamboree, which is like.
It wasn't in
huge.
Essex. It was not too.
And-
It was because it was near where I grew
Okay.
up. So it was like about. It was about
right,
like
right.
half an hour away from where I grew up. So it
I'm
was
on,
like
a field
Middle
somewhere.
England,
went to-
Oxford kind of area.
I was gonna say I went to the England Jamboree at one point.
Mm.
That was good shit because there was a good 500 odd
Yeah.
scouts there.
We were in one of the scout troops that didn't get to have any fun. I was like, oh yeah, you get to go like, you get to go kayaking and go, have campfires. We never did any of that shit, and I fucking hated it. So after that, I told my parents like, yeah, I'm never doing that again. Can I not? And they're like, are you just not having a good time? It's like, I've been telling you this for months, but no, I am not having a good time. I'd rather not.
I
It's like, right,
fucking love-
that's fair. But then
I fucking love camping.
no, but here's the thing. After that, and then George and Alex sending me a message saying, look, I need a really big favor. We are going to LARP, and I need a lift. I'm like,
Yeah.
where is it? And okay, it's like, oh, it's based on
Is it
Silverstone
why?
racetrack. It's like not the actual racetrack. There's a camping site next
Yeah.
to Silverstone in the
It's
UK.
literally across the road.
It is pretty much across the road. And it's based there, and it's like usually it's always there. So much so that they're actually, I think they rent the land, but they are planning on building upgrades to it.
No.
They're looking for a
They're
different
looking
plot.
for a permanent site.
Oh, they are. Oh, they are. Okay, fair enough. But like that's where it is now. I'm like, okay, well that's not too far away from where I live. I know the way. Like apart from like the back roads and everything, that's fine. Turn up there, help George and Alex get their tent set up, and then they were like, oh,
We're
we
gonna
need to go
shop for a
shop.
bit.
We need to go shopping.
Mhm.
I'm like, okay, because I like obviously I spent 2.5 hours driving there. I'm not
God.
gonna just walk. I'm just gonna be like, right, off I go again. Fuck that. I'm at least gonna
Yeah.
see what's going on.
Was this the
Event
first
two.
event?
This was the
Event two.
second event that you guys went to.
Two. Yep.
Right.
Because you said the one that you went before, it was like a freak storm as well.
It was really windy.
Yeah.
Amber warning wins the entire
It
weekend.
was insane. It was great because I was walking around with my cloak pulled down over my head and my cloak's still.
Another
Yeah.
thing that's important to know about LARP is the fact we don't use cloaks anymore. Baffling. Absolutely
Yeah.
baffling.
We should like day
I
to day.
I
we should
still-
literally just be like,
Oh, no, close to sick.
They're good.
It's because people wear coats now.
They're better than coats. They're genuinely
it's like
so much better than coats.
what a coat on. Just doesn't have the
Hot
same.
belly shot.
I
Mm,
know.
nice. But yeah, so
Doesn't have the
I
same
was like,
energy.
okay, I'm gonna walk around. I want to at least see what this is because I've always been curious. I remember watching films. I think there was a film specifically where it was an American comedy film, and
Is it role models?
it is
Oh,
role
God.
models. It's exactly that
Yeah.
film.
Ugh.
And they do the LARPing
Yeah.
bit, and like, unironically, that looks. I mean, obviously they're throwing lightning bolt. That obviously looks
Yeah,
like absolute.
It's very
ass.
goofy,
Yeah,
but it does kind of capture the
idea.
the feel of it,
Yeah.
the fun bit.
And I'm like, you know what? That looked unironically quite fun. I'd do that. And then when I was like, okay, I'm curious. So we start walking around. We walk to the weapon shop. Because obviously there's actual companies selling merch. They're selling outfits. They're selling knickknacks, loads of weapons, shit like that.
Gold
Right?
kit.
There is loads of kit options, or even just like buying a flagon so you can drink something
Oh,
that's
yes.
somewhat in character. Pouches, again, like loads of shit. We walked to because I think Alex was looking for a very specific weapon. He was looking for a very specific kind of weapon at that point. So we checked
for
all of the
tactical
sword
spirit.
places, and obviously I'm not in costume, but everyone else is. And they were like, "Oh, you know, have you LARPed before?" I was like, "No, I'm just dropping people off, but I've always been curious." And I was like, "Oh, okay,
100
And just-
swords, baby.
yeah." And then just looking at like getting to pick up the swords and play around them, like you could just feel it click in the back of my mind. Like, I kind of want to do this now. I wish I was here for the whole weekend.
It's that same feelings when you pick up a cardboard tube and you're like, okay,
I
okay,
can beat someone.
here we go.
with
You're
this.
just
Yeah.
like,
This is a lightsaber.
I have to
now.
hit something now.
Just
Yeah.
walking around
Well,
the house,
just
just like
in
observing inanimate
general-
objects going bonk.
Yeah.
Just in general, though,
Bonk.
just walking around the place is just like,
It's so weird because
where
like
am I?
yeah, exactly.
Which is
It
weird,
it
yeah.
does feel like it's like, you know, you see the field of
draw.
canvas tents like it's a military camp out of Game of Thrones, and you're like, and you're just sitting there in like jeans and like jeans and shirt, and you're like, is this an isekai? What has happened to me?
Yeah.
But then
I
I'm like,
feel wrong.
yeah, the more I thought about it, I'm like, God, I actually really want to do that. And then Alex was telling me about all the lore and actually just getting into it. I'm like, right, I've got stupid amounts of disposable income. I'm fucking in. Let's do this. Go to the
Yeah.
next event. I bought a
It's
tent.
great when you get up really early and you just see like 40 orcs in a big group just walk past you when you're having your breakfast. Like you're just tucking into like, you know, the quality, like just the 6 bean. You've gone for the multi-option breakfast and all the options of beans,
Mm,
and you've
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
you know sat there
power
and
play.
then like yeah,
loads of
Uh,
orcs just walk
uh,
past.
it's the
Right.
guys going to Monster because you go to the muster for the monstering
Yeah,
like
so there's,
an hour.
there's a big
uh,
fight
earlier
on
than
the
everyone
Saturday and the
Yeah, so
Sunday.
let me finish and we'll get to that point. So we'll talk about the bit more of the details. So like, you know what? I spent loads of money on a tent. I got a kit. The tent actually was really nice. Wait until the next event. I actually bought my first sword and shield. Went off and just had some fights, and I'm fucking in love with this. The actual role playing side, I'm still very unfamiliar because
Oh, it's hard to get.
I struggle to talk to people as it is.
Yeah.
And also trying to learn an entire history backstory for... I try to remember as much of a wiki that I would have read to try and talk to people is difficult. But I did the stupid thing of throwing loads of money at it originally, which makes it seem like, oh yes, this is definitely an expensive hobby. But first thing I want to say, you don't have to camp in character. If you've got a fucking tent that you take to a festival, or you just have any tent, there is an out-of-character camping area. People bring caravans, they bring whatever the fuck. If you drive, you can camp in your car.
You can just go. You can just go to a Premier Inn.
Yeah.
You go to a hotel down the road.
Yeah, there's several in the area because it is next to the racetrack.
Yeah.
Like, there are options. And you
To walk around,
you can do it cheaper. And the main thing is, like, obviously your kit. Buying a weapon. It is advised you have a weapon, probably. I've been told.
No, it's
nah,
not.
if you're not going to fight, it is substantially cheaper.
Oh yeah.
Most of my kit expenses has either
Armor.
been in weapons or armor.
Yeah.
And like my soft kit, I could get away with spending maybe £20.
Yeah,
Hey,
your
you
soft
can
kit,
get
being
balls
anything that's not
For the
armor
first
and
event,
stuff.
right?
Your soft kit won't cost you more than just buying clothes. You're buying some shirts. They can cost. They can be expensive.
Yeah.
But if you
Depending
can get
on
some for
your
like 10 quid.
depending on your nation, charity shops are top notch.
I was gonna say, like,
Oh, if you would have a Rushka, like
you
your
could
Nan,
run
like
through.
Nan's hat that has like the Upton fur is a very good piece of kit, right?
Yeah.
Like there's a bunch of stuff there. Massive, yeah.
And
it
if
depends
you
who
want to, I believe, like, for the battling side, if you do want to try that, most people either have spare weapons, depending on your nation, or if you're going with a group of people, they'll let you borrow stuff.
Someone let me plate mail in the first event I went to.
Oh, really?
No,
Yeah.
second event I went to.
Second.
Sorry,
Mm.
second.
Okay, fair enough.
They're just like, I can't be bothered to wear it. I might not fight for this skirmish, so yeah, here you go. Just chuck it on,
Yeah,
bring
it
it
was
back
great.
if you're done.
I'm pretty sure one guy
Breastplate.
bought, like, on one of the first events, the first event I went to, he bought a bow specifically to monster with, just so he
Harry.
could try it out. Yeah, Harry.
Oh my god, Harry.
And he
on the
bought it off
bow
of some random
monstering,
guy for 30 quid, and he's like, yeah, can I have a bow? He's like,
He-
yeah, sure.
He was going ham.
Mm.
There's so many
Okay.
pictures of him with that bow. He's just got the melty face mask
Oh,
because it's like caught on his arm or something and pulled down on one side. So
there
it's
was
just
at one
like,
point where I
"Ugh."
couldn't see in the mask, but yeah, no. There is, in terms of
Yeah,
if
that's
you
the
do
thing.
want to do it cheaply, there are two things that you need to do. You need to know what you would want to do at an event like that. If you want to be a fucking wizard or a mage or anything like that, you can do that without having to go into combat
Yeah.
and buy plate mail and whatever. So read and specifically, or just have a better idea of what you want to do, because there are people specifically at the event in your nation who you will walk up to say, I don't know what I'm doing, I would like to do this, please help, and they will put you in the right direction. I did that in one of my events, in the technically the last event we went to, because I really wanted to try and get more involved in military command. I wanted to see all of that shit and generals and things like that.
Which guys, some of the stuff we're doing next event is going to be good for that. For you.
Exactly. So when it comes
'Cause-
to when that is the case, and I walked up to the guy, I'm like, look, this is the kind of thing I want to do. I think it's really interesting. Who do I talk to? Because I don't know anyone in Dawn. And he's like, right, okay. He walked into some guy's tent and said, are you free? And he's like, yeah, we're just chilling, having a beer. What's up? And it's like, oh, this guy wants to do military command stuff. So, oh yeah, bring him in. And I had an hour and a half chat with two of the top generals of Dawn. And I'm like, oh, and they actually gave me loads of notes. They gave me things to look at. It's like,
No, that's great.
there
Jesus
are
Christ.
ways in to do things that you want to do, and
Yeah.
you don't have to think, oh, I have to buy plate mail, I have to buy chain mail, I need to buy a big fucking
Yeah,
sword. I did
I'm-
that because I want to beat the shit. I want to do that. That's what I wanted to do.
I'm-
if you don't
I'm-
wanna do that,
I'm
there's a way
reluctant to
around
even
it.
go- I'm reluctant to even bother. Honestly, next event. Oh, also another thing. If you do want to fight and you don't want to have the money for it, you only need a weapon.
Yeah.
And you can probably borrow one. Because you don't like if you want to fight. Like fighting in character is obviously the best way to fight because it's fun and there's stakes to it. But if you want to fight and try fighting without investing in armor, because of
Get a cheap weapon
monstering.
in Monster.
Yeah.
So if you monster,
They
if
give
you
you armor, I
monster-
believe.
They
They do.
give you armor.
They give you more armor.
And it's pretty fucking good. Yeah, it's better armor than I have. Actually, so yeah, they give you medium armor, so you're sorted. You need a weapon. You could probably get a fairly decent cheap one or borrow. Like, it's not hard to find people who are willing to lend weapons. If I'm honest, obviously.
Most people have
Yeah.
loads.
meet
mean,
people
I've
before
got-
you go, right?
I've got a mace and a sword, and I'm only going to
LARP
use
is
one of
LARP
those.
I will say it is an issue to just turn up and be like, I want to meet people at the event. It's possible, if you're an extremely social person, fair enough. However, it's one of those things that there are social media channels, there are things available where you can just say, hey, I'm coming into this event, I'm fairly new, I don't particularly know what I'm doing, but I do want to meet people. And most people, because LARP is a social event,
Definitely.
everybody wants to just like, oh,
It
we're
seems
happy
like
to
it
chat.
would be difficult not to do that, given the events and the.
Yeah. So the way the
We
nations are
selected-
structured
Didn't
is
do
Yeah, I was gonna say,
every.
should we
yeah,
talk about a bit more about nations now?
Yeah.
And then we'll
so
go on to combat afterwards.
the way the nations are structured generally is like they're there to give everyone, no matter what kit you've got at home, essentially you could probably fit it into a brief somewhere if you've
Mhm.
already got kit, or there's something that will fit your fancy. But the way they're structured is generally there are types of groups in
Yeah,
the
it works
nations. For
differently.
example, Dawn has noble houses because it's all romantic fantasy, knights in shining armor, and there's a lot of inter-house drama that like people make. It's a lot of fun. And or you've got like the households, I think they're called in the marches, which is more like
Yep.
your War of the Roses kind of guys in tin hats and hoses and just pikes.
I'm pretty sure the marchers are they the ones who basically wear no armor but they have loads of poleaxes?
Yes.
Yes,
They,
okay. 'Cause they're
they
fucking
either
cool.
are.
No, a lot of them have
That's
That's
sick,
full
though.
plate.
A lot of them
I've
have
seen a lot of them
full-plate
fighting
chain
basically in
helmets.
LARP underwear.
And then some of them are just
And,
like as peasanty as they could be, and it's
It's
great.
really fun. It's really fun to watch them fight as well. Because they
I
fucking
think-
go for it.
Yeah, it's so good. The
Committing to the peasant is pretty
well,
baller.
the way the
You're not gonna
marches
hit them, though,
fight
'cause
is
they've
really
got
really
fucking
cool because
pole-arms,
everyone has a polearm in the marches.
and then they form blocks.
They form blocks, and they're so scary because they're trying to face off against them, and there's just a wall of spears, and you're like, I can't get anywhere near this. I've got a mace, and I'm a healer, so I'm
That's
just
the
gonna.
other thing that's worth
not.
mentioning as well.
Mm.
You do not understand. Like, there's no way anyone can explain to you what it's like to go to LARP and what the battles are like unless you're there, because the Jesus fucking Christ, it's a
One of
lot.
those things that if you are
Fucking
at least going, you
scary.
should try at least once in one way.
Yeah.
Just
It's
to
an
be able to get a better
experience.
idea of, those things are there.
Crazy.
Again,
Seeing
if
a
you
huge
want to
line of
try
people-
if you want to try battle, there are ways to be able to do that cheaply because obviously monstering is available. You'll get respawns, you get given a brief, you'll get given your orc mask, and you get to go just run off in a field for 2.5
It's great.
hours and have a great time.
Yeah, you also get a whole bunch of skills and things, so you get
Yeah.
some cool stuff.
But going back
yeah.
to nations.
Yeah, so I was saying with the nations, because they're structured into groups, I definitely recommend, at least for your first character, join a group that already exists. Find someone online, ask around. Dawn, there's a
Yeah.
system for it. I don't particularly know against the other nations, because the way Dawn works, you've got noble houses, and you've got yo folk, and yo folk are the people who are trying to prove themselves and do a test of metal and be glorious enough to
Become a lord.
gain
yes.
respect and become a member of a noble house. So you can turn up as a nobody and ask for a test of metal from a noble house and earn your way into a group. So essentially, you can shop around to see what kind of people you like and hang out with that, or you can if you like. If you find online that there's a group that's looking for players, or you ask to say, hey, can I join you guys? You guys seem pretty cool. Or I'm new. You guys cool with that? Most people are. It definitely helps. Because me and Alex, we started our own on our very first event. Because we knew a couple people.
We're one person. We do Harry.
Oh yeah, we did. It was just
Yeah.
Harry. Yeah. I thought it was a couple more than that. Yeah, and that was a bit of a struggle.
Mistake.
It was a yeah.
I don't regret making our own house. I just regret.
No,
Even if you make your own house, you still have to talk to people first.
I would have much rather. I think thinking back, maybe joined a house and died in my second event. That would have been ideal. Well, to be fair,
We,
well,
we should you
I
should have died in your
I
second
should have
event.
died in my second event. I got caught behind.
We both should have.
Yeah, we
Jesus
both got
Christ.
caught behind enemy lines as we were around the flank, and our army pulled back, and we got trapped.
And we were fighting in no armor.
Yeah, we were fighting, and I went down and got brought back up, and
Yeah,
went down again.
Jotun Thrall
Hmm.
got us both back up.
Yeah, so essentially a healer on the other team in the Orks was like a previous Empire slave essentially.
But he is a slave.
Helped us out. He's been captured. So he took some pity on us and helped us out and went, all right, so if you guys promise don't fight the Jotun anymore, I can get you guys out. So yeah, I was like, you know what?
Fair enough.
Sure,
enough.
fair
We'll make that
enough.
promise.
We'll make that promise. So we get up, we start walking back towards our front lines, which is, so there's us, the Jotun front lines, our front lines, and we see these guys turn around and go, get him! And we're just like, okay, run. So we both sprint, but we've like, the Jotun line is in front of us, and we've got to just go this way, just essentially straight towards them, but like, we've got to get around them because we can't go through them.
No,
But there's like a
Jotun
big
line,
hedge to the one side.
Then like a tree line and hedge and like swampy bit.
Oh, you have to go
Then-
through the trees as well?
We're in the forest.
Fuck!
Yeah, it was in the forest. So I get chased. All I remember is like we sprinting, jumping over like a fallen tree, just like a full sprint. I get brought down, and
or did they just catch up with you?
no, they caught up with me. I don't really
I
shit
fucking,
my
I went,
mouth.
I went.
They caught up
fucking-
with me, and I was just
I've
like,
never went so fast.
just give me a second to just lie down on the ground.
So I am okay to die here now. I'm out of breath.
Yeah. They caught up with me anyway, but like,
I've never run so fast.
yeah, it was
It's
terrifying.
fucking scary. Like
So-
genuinely, like that. They're just people in orc masks, right?
But the
there's,
fear.
like, there's genuinely a level of dehumanization in it. Like they're fucking terrifying orc people,
Yeah.
and it's hard not to think that when you see about.
When there's like 6 of them chasing you.
and the 600
And
of
presumably
them,
just
and chase you.
screaming at you.
Oh, yeah.
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 Oh,
And
Christ.
especially like you're like hyper alert the whole time, so we're like 2 hours in, and just like, what's that?
Full on adrenaline effect.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
in terms of a lot of the nation stuff is the main things that we can kind of say is read the wiki, find a nation
Yeah.
you like the look of. You could probably
some
easily
really
think
cool
you can
ones
get
out
the
there.
idea, like the kit of. Read the wiki, find the group itself if it has. There's not really much activity on Twitter. It's mostly on Facebook, and I believe
Yeah.
there's a forum for
Yeah.
LARP as well.
There's a bit, yeah.
There's a dedicated
forum
forum hosted by
on-
the company that run it.
found
There's a-
decisions.
Yes.
There's a Facebook group for every nation. There's a Facebook group for the main event. Those
Yeah.
are the best places to go.
Yeah. Or
Like
like
that.
go there,
And there's
Just-
Discord.
throw
But-
throw stuff up and just be like, hey, I'm new. I want to try and do this, and there will be people to help you. In terms of that, another big part of LARP is, some of the systems that exist around it. How magic works, how like certain professions and skills work. There's
Yeah.
the Senate. There's loads of
character
shit
sheet,
going on.
right?
So we can
As
only really
well.
kind of talk about what we know in that respect. So what we don't cover, it's on the wiki. It is there. We will link it in the description below of this video.
There's full on a Emperor/Empress.
Yes.
We don't know yet because the current one, last one just fucking
She went to the
died,
Shadow
and
Realm.
we haven't got a new one yet.
Shadow Realms.
She
She
got Shadow
straight up got
Realms, yeah.
Shadow Realms.
She took the equivalent of like she decided to have like yes, I'm gonna take this drug that puts me to sleep temporarily, but they gave her the permanent juice to the
Yeah,
drug.
Mm.
It
she
was
got
like
permanently put to sleep.
astral projection essentially, right?
Yeah, and then they made it and like they put the special juice in so it never ends.
Yeah.
Yeah, they permanented it.
Yeah. But like that's a player. Everything is players. There is like anything that's in Anvil, which is like the town city thing with all nations are, is players only.
All
Too much.
politicians, all the mages, all the only things that aren't the referees.
Yeah. And the referees
and
are
the-
usually kind of going around, and a lot of what nations end up doing do have knock-on effects because there is, in a sense, downtime that happens where the story progresses. There is a team of writers who say, it's like, right, this X threat is suddenly trying to destroy this large part of a nation.
Oh yeah, the
And there's
whole
like
point
there's
of,
loads
this,
of
Yeah.
like loads of storylines
Yeah.
interweaving, but a lot of it comes to a
The-
head at the
the whole point
event,
of the setting
and it's played out by players.
is you're one big nation called the Empire, and you are literally assailed at every single fucking front about different threats, and it sucks.
Yeah.
Like
So,
you're a nation that is like 5 minutes before
Mm.
midnight. It is not good.
Mm.
the
And
premise
it's not
of
grimdark. It's just isn't. It's just like
It's just
But
not
we-
pleasant.
we're fighting a war on, I think, 4 fronts. So that currently they're fighting the Grendel, which are pirate orcs, simplified, but there's the Grendel, there's pirate orcs, the Jotun, which are like Klingon honorable orcs, the Druze, which are like they use
Bastards.
poisons, traps, like
They are
punchy
bastards.
pits probably, and they're the kind of people who will use venoms that kill you in 30 seconds once you go down instead of 3
Yep,
minutes.
they're the people you don't want
Um,
to fight because they kill the most players.
Yeah.
They're scary. They have whistles. The monster rating team use whistles and smoke, and it's
Death screaming
genuinely
whistles.
terrifying. You're going in, and there's just like they're running. They'll just run. They'll just run past you,
This skirmishes.
and then they'll just run past you that way. And because you're not on the big battles, the small skirmishes, you just got them like they're
Darting between the trees and the
they're
bushes
just in
and
the
things.
trees. They're in the trees. They're not engaging you. They're just in the trees.
They're
You don't know
watching
when
you.
they're going to come at you, and then someone will run forward, and then like one person will be like try and chase them off, and then everyone will be like no, don't chase them, don't chase them. just hold as you can, like just stay together, and it's so difficult to do that because
they're very-
they'll use bow and arrows and like it's
You
pretty
can't
lightweight.
leave them alone.
Yeah,
No, you
But
really
you-
can't.
They peel you off one by one, and they're
And-
fucking grim.
so the fourth threat that's not orcs.
You forgot one.
We're not at war with the Thor.
Ah, true, but they're still. we
They're
probably
still
will
back.
be.
No, they're still like, well, we kind of want to be at war with them, but
They're the magic orcs that use monsters
mind
and stuff.
and mind control stuff.
Yeah,
Right.
and the Grendel also use they have these big lobster men. So they're like the guys in huge suits with massive foam.
I
claws
saw.
that just-
I've seen one of the
walk through.
lobster men. They're
They're really,
fucking
really
And
cool.
scary.
they have the war rhinos.
and they've got the war rhinos as well.
Yeah, obviously the Jotun
Uh,
have the ice giants,
giant.
and
They had
I think
ice
they also
giants.
have war rhinos because it was a war rhino and an ice giant in the same fight at one point. When we
There's
were the
two
human
ice giants,
when we
wasn't
were the human Jotun, they had both.
Two ice giants.
There was
It was
two
two-
ice
it was
giants
two-
and I think there was a war rhino as well.
No,
No,
the,
the
the
time
other,
before they're two war rhinos.
Oh,
the other
right,
thing in
okay.
that fight was they had heralds of Cathan Cannae, which were like these dudes with shark masks on.
Yes,
With like ice
yes,
great swords,
them.
and they would break people's weapons.
They were fucking scary.
They
And
were
luckily, I wasn't on like fighting them. Otherwise, it would have been fucked.
So the fourth threat is this thing called the Valorn, and it is it's a sentient ecosystem that infests a couple of places in the Empire, and the skirmishes that you go on to that are some of the most immersive and cool things I've ever been on.
I've been on one of those as well.
Hmm.
It was
I haven't.
fucking
So
scary.
they fill the entire area with fog, because if you go into an area with Valorn, there's this stuff called miasma. And what it does is essentially it either venoms you or weakens you, so you can't do your abilities unless you spend certain things to negate it. But the main thing it does is every time you go as you leave, when you're going back to the main camp, the refs are waiting there with a stack of cards that they give one to each of you, and each of you gets a Valorn-based traumatic injury or a disease, essentially.
Yeah, I remember because I had to have LARP surgery. That was fun.
Yeah. So the most common of that is green lung,
Yeah.
which is like you've got spores in your lungs, and
I think there's one is
There's stuff
bees
like
in your
that.
lungs though as well.
that's
Bees in the bones.
Bee in your
That's a
bones.
mess.
Chuck.
yeah, that's a
Gate
magical
shock.
traumatic wound, and that
Right, yeah,
happens
yeah.
from like if you come back through the gate too late, you get gate shock, and it's like a bad time.
Mm.
But yeah, the Valorn are essentially like they take the corpses of people who have died, animate them with vines and stuff. There's like treants and dryads and big creatures, and you can see maybe 5 meters before the fog gets too thick because they fill the whole thing with fog.
And this
And
is
it's
like
all
sometimes
in the forest.
depending on the time, skirmishes go into quite late in the evening, so it's pitch black.
It can
They
get
go-
And you
dark.
cannot
they go
fucking
until-
see.
11.
Like 9 No,
No,
there's
they don't go
11
that
hits.
late.
11 is the latest I've seen one go.
There's probably a very good reason for that, but yeah. So in
Yeah,
terms
I
of
think
when
it
you're
was, like,
going
early
on,
in the
when
year.
you're going against these skirmishes, fighting the Orks or the Forlorn or something, you've got general combat rules, and it's not it is not as from the role models thing. It's not let you but you throw a thing.
Yeah.
Not the fucking case at all.
All
Do you
spells require
leave?
contact. with,
Yeah.
like,
So a lot
like
of it is
staff.
contact based. You
Yeah.
know, it is. They do when you would turn up if you are wanting to get into combat. They do run combat primers. So it's not like I have a foam sword now. I'm just gonna hit the shit out of you because those foam swords do have cores of like plastic in them. So
Carbon fiber.
yeah, they are. They do
Yeah.
fucking hurt if they just whack
Mhm.
someone with it. But so they kind of teach you in order way to, when you're hitting, you're kind of pulling your hits a bit,
Yeah.
so
you
you're
gotta pull
not
your
just
hip.
twatting someone in the face.
And you can't
just-
stab.
You cannot stab.
Yeah.
No, it is
You
just
always
kill
a
someone.
slash of some sort.
Wait. You can't stab?
You can't
can
straight
only
on like that.
Because I
Yeah.
was gonna say, because I've got a question then about Alex's
Rapier?
sword.
I got
Rapier.
whackable with it. I don't stab with it.
It's
Well,
more
no, I
like
guess if
with
you
with
use
this
it like a
rapier, it's more of
saber,
like a
'cause-
flourish thing.
Alright.
Yeah.
No, I understand because
There are
saber
still like
combat, you're
daggers
supposed
and
to
things, so
do
like you can kind of, in terms of
things.
roleplay
I've
stuff,
got a dagger.
if you're trying to stab someone in the back, as an example, that is a thing. But it's one of those things you're like, you know exactly where you like. You kind of hit them in the back and say, and you kind of whisper, "I'm stabbing you," so they kind of realize. So there are roleplay events where it's like that. But in terms of normal battlefield etiquette, you're not stabbing the fuck out of them, especially because you're more likely to break your own weapon than actually do anyone harm. But also you could like try and avoid hitting them in the face. You might poke something a bit too hard; it could cause injury. You know, it is a contact
the-
thing at the end.
some weapons can stab because they are stab safe, like spears.
Yes, because they full fucking bend.
Yeah.
They're essentially
that's right.
sponges at that point on the tips. And they completely just compress.
Well,
Hmm.
because I was gonna say the in terms of if I was to do it myself, I've done a bit of fencing training, and so I would like to go down that sort of route of combat.
Instead of doing a direct stab, you just do that. You just do it like that.
Yeah,
and
you do the
just-
yeah.
You just
You
do
got
that.
you had a
It-
flourish
it's-
on the end when you're
it still
stepping in.
adds-
You still like you kind of step into it. But yeah,
you add more risk to it. That's all you do. It's
Yeah.
not.
No, as I said, like
they do
with,
kind of teach
with,
you for that kind of
with
thing
fencing with not with epées but with sabers, you can like side strikes count.
The important thing to do though is remember that you can't. There are people who fight like fencing. There's like a whole group of people who do it in
They just
Dawn.
tap you. I'm just like,
But it's like
Come on.
because they're doing it like fencing, which is hit score points. It's very tippy tappy
too.
with the wrist.
it looks so bad.
You're-
It looks
you're-
so
you're-
bad, but it feels
You're
so bad to do.
You're role playing in a fantasy game with your heroes. You should be doing big swings.
Yeah.
Just like
You-
somewhat right.
You need
It
to
needs
kind
to
of
look
up it a
cool.
bit.
It
Hmm.
needs to look cool.
Yeah, bravado
get-
is a key.
You get when you make your character, you can choose skills essentially. So the way it works is, because I always get asked like, "What? So do you just like do you have like hit point you roll dice or anything?" It's like, how do you know who wins? And it's all based on hitting each other. Simple as that. You have 2 hit points. You take 1 hit, you lose it. Take the second hit, you go down on the ground. 30 seconds later, you have to keep count. 30 seconds, sorry.
3
minutes
minutes.
later,
Unless you're
you-
venomed.
you bleed out and you are dead. Like, just your character is gone.
There is no resurrection.
There's no resurrection. But there are different things you can do to improve your chances. You can wear light armor, which increases your hits to 4. Medium armor increases it to 5, and heavy armor increases it to 6. There's different categories based on what actual physical stuff you're wearing counts for what. So plate mail and chain mail is heavy. Leather, if it's thick enough, is medium.
And like poly.
Yeah, and
plate mail.
polyethylene, polyester, like
Or also things that
like-
are like quite heavily padded, usually light armor.
yeah. So if you're wearing the gambeson thick cloth, that's light armor. But you have
Yeah,
a
weird
set amount
but
of experience
technical
to
isn't.
spend as well. Yeah. So you the way it works is you have like 8 experience to spend when you first make a character.
Yeah, that's not right.
You can spend it on essentially any part of the game you want to go into. if you do a combat character, you can spend it on hero points, and hero points can then be spent on other skills that you get to do things like call cleave on an attack, which means that when you strike someone in the arms and you call cleave, if you break the arm, they can't use it anymore. Or if you hit them at the chest, they go straight to 0 hit points. Medium armor blocks that, and so does heavy armor. And then there's like another tier called Impale, which is for the bigger weapons, which goes through medium armor but not heavy armor. And bows and arrows always do Impale. Just always. You don't need the skill, but
you can do LARP bow and arrows. There are ways around it because you have big fucking sponges on the end. But it is a very
cool.
one. It's expensive because you're shooting £20 notes at people, and two, it's also expensive skill wise because they always impale.
And it costs 4 experience to unlock marksman, the skill that lets you use bows and arrows.
Yeah.
So bear that in mind if that is the way you want to go.
You also get skills like you get extra health, you get extra bleed out time. You can there's one that's like called Relentless, and it's say you're cleaved in the leg and you can't go anywhere. You can spend it's like 5 or 10 seconds of role playing and fix your own leg. So that's just, I don't know, you like hit your shoulder against a tree to pop a dislocated shoulder back into place, or something like that.
Punch your knee back into place so you can walk again.
Yeah. And then there's another one called Unstoppable. And Unstoppable is my absolute favorite when you're a monster, because essentially the way it works is you could do 5 seconds of role playing in which you have to shout the word unstoppable. And you either heal 5 hit points or you heal 5 hit points at the end of it. But you could do it when you hit 0 hit points. So when you hit 0 hit points, you can do 5 seconds of role playing. It has to be clear this is what you're doing. You have to shout unstoppable, but you can essentially resist death, resist going down, and you don't take any damage when you're doing it, and you go back at 5 hit points. It doesn't get rid of any cleaves, so while you're doing this, someone can walk up to you and go like cleave, 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 and just cleave all of your limbs.
I've seen that happen to someone actually, to be honest.
It's really funny. Like they're all 5 hit points, but they've got no limbs, and someone has to come and drag them away. And they're just like, I'm unstoppable. And you're just like literally being dragged.
Yes, you are. Of course you are. Come on.
I'll bite your ankles off. Yeah, classic Black Knight.
I always see it a lot when someone is clearly outnumbered and is trying to stall for time to make sure that everyone, like all their friends, can go and get to save them. So they say that, and then like they're like, oh, they start to fight, and then eventually you see like a wave of people running at the orcs.
Yeah,
that's always fun.
Yeah, so there's things like that.
There's also magic and magic spells, which allows you to get things like always the fun one, shatter. But it's like via a staff. You do need to actually touch them. It's not like range spells. It's all based on contact, as Alex said before. So if you say shatter and you tap someone's shield with it while calling it, that shield is now broken and you cannot use it.
Yeah, you have to do a bit of an incantation beforehand. It has to be clear this is what you're doing. You can't just go tap shatter because.
The same thing applies for like things like cleave. It has to be a big swing. It can't just be a normal swing. It's got to be.
You can't just gotta be cleave. It is.
You've got to be dramatic.
Like fucking go for it.
I'll just tap someone and be like, "Yeah, I've cleaved your arm into pieces." Like, did you though? You gotta hand it.
There's a lot of it is within reason because, like, at the end of the day, you're trying to act out. You are the main character, but so is everybody else.
Yeah.
So
I mean,
if you aren't acting,
monster,
if you're not acting kind of well enough, as like, yeah, you may be okay with the level you're acting, but the problem is everybody else is. It's like, you're doing quite a weak swings. You're not really fighting that, or like you're trying to fight and you're not really putting your all into it.
Yeah.
The people around you will kind of get affected by that, and also the people you're fighting will get affected by that. So they may try and act up to try and get you to act up, but like sometimes it's a balancing act. It is a balancing act. So do be mindful of that.
What are the because obviously you mentioned that the skills, a lot of them are combat based, but what would be the ones that are non-combat based?
So for example, you get cleaved and you lose the arm. You can't fix that by yourself. People who can are people who've taken things from the medicine section essentially. So there's Courageon, which lets you stabilize someone who's bleeding with 30 seconds, I think, of role playing. and that puts them back to 1 hit point. And you can use, I think, the healing herbs to do it. Then you get Physic, which is the upgraded version, which you can fix broken limbs without using any herbs. You could use herbs to like do a whole bunch of stuff.
Potions are
and
fun.
there's Apothecary, which has potions, and then you've got extra recipe for Apothecary, which is the one you can take over and over and over again to get more recipes, essentially.
I will
And
say,
those are things
yeah.
like there's a juice that you drink it and you gain a use of Unstoppable, but there's a role-playing effect to most of these, and the one for this is essentially you feel like you could do anything and nothing can stop you. Like you are recklessly brave. So
You
it's
drank
great.
loads of Red Bull and you need to go in
It's
that
essentially
direction.
You drink this orange juice and it makes you
I was
a
gonna say, and
nutcase.
I assume that people who go down this route are there making their own potions.
I will remember distinctly
Yeah.
my first event, waking up on the because we were fighting on the Sunday. No,
Me
we were
crouched
fighting
in
on the
front of, like,
Saturday.
WKDs.
No, we were fighting on the Saturday. I just woke up at this point, put my kit on, sort my face out, walk outside, looked at George's tent on my left, and we're obviously kitting up ready to go. And he's just there with a bottle of WKD at like 8:30 in the morning, just pouring it into these bottles. And
no,
like, Gaz, you gotta drink this. I've filled up all my bottles. Like, don't know what to do with this. I'm like, George, it's 8:30. Honestly, it's like, come on. Otherwise, I'm spilling it. I'm like, fine. I just took it down the rest of. Yeah, but obviously, it's just really funny. Just like it's 8:30 in the morning. He's just trying to get as much of this WKD into these
I bought a
bottles
bunch
as
of
possible.
like mini colored VKs is what they were.
Oh, were they VKs? Yeah.
Yeah, and
Because
it
we
was,
went to Tesco on the way.
it's because so the way the potions work and look is
They have a descriptor of what the potion looks like, what the effect is, and so on. So some of them range in color. They imply that there's a smell, something like that. They look like those. They are like little cards that you get.
On this, it says the description: it's a translucent liquid tinted a pale blue-green. It's a clean, fresh scent. Tiny drop of sticky fluid on your tongue, on your finger, tingle pleasantly for a moment. Use it. Takes 5 seconds to just drink it. Role-playing effect: a warm glow spreads quickly through your body, removing pain, revitalizing your spirit, and creating a sense of enormous well-being. Mechanical effects: you're regaining up to 3 lost hits. And then I've got things like Fever Fail Elixir, which is you lose the weakened condition, which means you can't use any hero abilities, which is quite useful. And then you've got things like herbs. There's 5 different kinds of herbs, and it's 1 heals you to full hit points, and then the rest heals a broken limb, removes venom, removes weakness, and ignores a role-playing effect for an amount of time until the end of the battle.
Yeah.
So
and obviously, with these kinds of things, you've got these cards. It's like, what's to say, I'm just going to use it, put it back in my pocket, I've still got it. No, while you're doing your when you're applying them, or you're the guy force feeding this drink into this guy's mouth so that he can, force feed is obviously acting role play.
You don't have to drink it.
You don't know. A lot of it is if they're doing something you're not comfortable with, you fucking tell them, and they will. If they don't back off, then that's when you get refs involved and so on and so forth. There's a process. But obviously, it's while you're doing that, part of the role play is like while you're drinking it, like while they're they're drinking the potion, you tear the card, and in reality, it is gone. Like that is you using it, which is really cool.
There's a bunch of potions you can do and stuff like that.
So is there like? So I know I keep sort of
no question.
Setting up for the next thing. Is there like social-based skills then?
Yeah. So what I was going to say just quickly. So on the healing one, physics also can do this thing where, so say you take a particularly nasty hit or something happens outside in between events, you get things called traumatic injury cards,
which are always fun.
They're
not
really
a bad
cool.
thing. By any means, they are not a bad thing. They're really cool.
They're a role-playing card.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it's not a punishment for like getting hit. It's a reward for getting hit really well.
Like for example, Alex is a limp now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the way it works is it's a card that is laminated. People can't open it. Only physics can. So it gives you the symptoms essentially, but you don't know what it is. And you can rip it open. The physic can see what it is, how it's treated, and there's a full hospital setup in the
It's not about the
in
players
Anvil.
again. Just
Yeah,
to
yeah.
clarify.
Yeah.
Set by the players. So you can go there. Say you've got a lingering wound, you can go see it get treated. There's like benches set out. There's this big green tent. It's got like the red flag, Red Cross equivalent on it. It's like a big. It's the root of blood in red on a white flag, and it's very cool. It's in keeping with the Geneva Convention, and
Obviously, so they don't get sued.
Yeah.
But that's the thing is when I said LARP surgery, it was
commit,
after
commit war
yeah.
crimes is the
Yeah,
word.
but it was like it was
Yeah.
it was after an event, after a downtime thing, because we were fighting Valorn in downtime, and then also I didn't get it healed straight away, and then I went on a skirmish against more Valorn, got another traumatic injury, and obviously being told you're going to the fucking hospital, I'm like okay. While given to them, I pulled the other card out that I got and said, by the way, this happened as well, and they were like, what's this? Read it and like, nurse, can you get as many drugs as possible? And I'm like,
Yep.
What? It's like, excuse me, you're just gonna have to lie down for a second.
Yeah.
And then had
So
LARP
the-
surgery. So like you're obviously trying to add the role play, reacting to what they're doing, but it is a really
Yeah.
fun thing.
The
Oh my
the thing is
Christ.
with the hospital, because it's run by players and because treating stuff takes resources, there's a whole thing of like to join the hospital staff you have to pay in herbs or in money so that they can buy more herbs, and you get like a little membership and they let you trade herbs there. It's a nice little incentive, but yeah.
And
To
in
get back to
addition
your
to that,
question,
you've got things like artisan. Is that what the skill's
yeah.
called?
Yeah.
Artisan.
Yeah,
You've
I know
got
artisan.
the magic skills. You've got
Yeah. Because you if you're an artisan, your game could just be I'm going to trade with people and make stuff. That's it. It's all about getting resources and being like I can make these things for specific people and getting clients that way
becoming
and
a
running a business.
stockbroker.
Yeah.
Then there's also then rituals because rituals are like it's two types of magic. There's battle magic, which is stuff when you hit someone you can break their weapons, and then there's rituals which are like I'm gonna take a 10-minute ritual to make this person's farm better so they get more resources between events.
Or
That's like the
go
most
to different realms and have story moments with NPCs and things like that.
Yeah. That's
Yeah,
the most socially.
you can fuck with the gods, but they're not gods. They're
They're
can't,
just
can't
powerful
call them
beings.
gods.
That's the best social ability I can think of. But overall, there's not really social abilities. You
There's
just
more
do
just
social stuff.
ways to be social
Yeah,
by going
but there are
to.
tools.
There's
there are
there's the Anvil
Ah,
Watch. There's the guards.
ways to be
there
resourceful.
Yeah.
I'd say the entirety of the religious skills are all social skills.
Oh, probably that makes sense.
Yeah, okay, no, that's fair. I say the
'Cause,
religious ones
yeah.
are social.
So the
other
way
functions.
the way
They're still about. There's still things that let you provide a service within the game, and that helps you socialize. At the end of the day, you can do all of that anyway. Like you can still go to do the precept without being a priest. You can still talk to them about the religion and be
Yeah.
into that. There's just more tools and levers that help you do things.
Yeah. So the religion in the game is called the Way, and it's based on 7 virtues, which see if I can remember them. There's pride, prosperity, courage, ambition,
Vigilance.
loyalty, pride, and vigilance.
You said
said
pride
pride.
twice.
Just imagine I didn't.
Okay.
There's 6.
I'll stick.
Hold on,
There's
let me look.
6, I think.
There's 7.
There's 7, is there?
Yes.
Yeah, pride twice. He just went over this.
Yeah.
Pride twice. You got to dodge, duck, dip, dive, and dodge.
Yeah,
There you
it's
go.
true.
Yeah, basically.
And love.
Yeah, and love.
If you're in
Definitely.
Dawn.
If
Love
you're
and
in Dawn.
glory.
Not heresy.
Definitely not heresy.
Yeah, so you can. There's a bunch of religious skills, and it's stuff like you can anoint objects, consecrate locations, and I can't remember the other one is. You bless people essentially. So say people are going out on a skirmish to a place called the Black Plateau. It's a cursed place with dodgy rituals happen. Just by stepping into there, you are afflicted with weakness, and you cannot use any of your hero abilities. The way you get past it is by spending a hero point when you leave, or if you're anointed. And when you're anointed, essentially, you are blessed with a certain virtue, and a certain effect is placed upon you, essentially. So I had a prosperity anointment that was like I can't remember what it was specifically, But essentially, it was a case
More
of
generous.
I was more generous
Yeah.
and I was more likely to share my wealth essentially. So what I did for that was when we were gambling, there's a donation box in the middle of the thing. So anytime anybody mentioned the donation box, I put a ring in, which is like the smallest amount of currency. But I added up, and I was just like, okay,
We're not rich.
It's great.
So
Especially, I remember going to what we went
gambling
drinking
was fun.
for the Cambion Club, which was a
Yeah,
specific
that's right,
like
yeah,
event
but-
that was happening. We went to a player-run bar because a lot of like there is actually like official. There's like a proper eatery where you pay with barbarian money, which is normal currency, pounds
Yeah,
or whatever.
or
But
you
there
could
is
just go
also
to
the
all the
in-game currency,
Yeah.
which you can use, and most people will run bars, or they will run cafes, or they will run things like that. Like, hey, come have a drink, pay with in-character money. And
Mhm.
we were doing that and gambling at the same time in a tiny
Yeah, it's
little
great.
bar in Varushka. What was it called? The Honey Pot?
Honey Pot, yeah.
That was fucking great because there was about 7 of us in that group, and then more random people who were going to the
Yeah,
Cambion Club turned
it
up,
was the
and then
4
we
of
just
us
met
and
new
Mac.
people. Yes.
So 7 of us, 5 of us really.
And then obviously, and then the guy who was running it was like very eccentric as like a dealer. The person running it, super in character, made it a really fun experience for everyone involved.
Mate, he bought me a fucking burger.
Did he actually?
Yeah,
If
we
any...
went. No, so we went for food afterwards, right? And
and you make him magic item as well.
that's the other dude, but they're both there. So yeah,
Yeah.
we went for food afterwards. I think they're like they're in LARP Society in some uni. I forgot. I remember them saying, and it was funny because we were just like end up having a bit of out of character thing because I was like, oh, fuck my card declined.
Mm.
Shit. So he bought me food. I was like, oh, can you have the spare ticket? And I was like, absolute lad. And it was funny, I had to talk to them. The man basically, I remember him saying how, I remember we were on about Warhammer, but we were on about Warhammer, of course we were.
Mm.
And I think it was because the coat he had was basically a commissar's jacket. And the reason
It
it was
did look
basically a
like it, didn't
commissar's
it?
coat was because he has full commissar cosplay.
Ah, smart.
And
There you go.
he has a lot of Astra. And I was like, that's cool. But no, they were really great lads. And yeah, I'm making like one of them a talisman that let them use like a heavier weapons, like a magic that lets them use better weapons.
Mm.
But yeah, they were good. I can't wait to see them again. Like,
Yeah.
because the honeypot was a lot of fun. I spent
Yeah.
a lot of money and I drank a lot.
I think in
all the
terms
bars are
of
so cool.
what, as someone sort of looking into it and sort of what I would like to get out of it, it would be more that kind of, or in terms of, I guess, a character to play, it would be more of that kind of eccentric, over-the-top socializing character. I'd love to... I guess the thing with... that there is at some point going to be a direct relation between money in-game and your real-life money.
I don't think
Yeah,
there is.
to an extent, if it's like you're running a bar and you're buying like drink, yeah.
Other than that, there's not that much, I would say.
No.
Like, there
It's-
are people who, obviously, if you are running a bar, there's a few people who run, like, obviously, as I mentioned, like, there's one
There's a
in
lot of
Dawn,
bars.
there's the Glory
There's a
Hole.
lot of bars. There's
The
two.
trick-
There's
I know there's 2,
in Dawn.
but there's
Yeah.
obviously the
Ye Old Glory Hole.
yeah,
is
the year old Glory Hole, which there is a specific house who brews their own alcohol. They bring it to the event on a little cart with barrels, and they go
There's a
around
lot
the
of
camp and they
homebrew.
serve it to people.
Yeah,
It's a
that's
There's a lot
traveling
of
bar.
homebrew stuff,
the-
but some of it's
they're the
really good
first
and
people-
it
It's
just kills
really
you.
tasty, but
They're
yeah,
the
like
people we like properly met and George met our first.
there
event. They're
doesn't
fucking
need
great.
to be. There doesn't necessarily need to be a comparison like, oh, I have to spend normal money to be able to get more. It's never the case. A lot of it is it's stuff that you earn. There is a way, obviously, to be like, I will sell you this bottle of mead or this bottle of vodka, and obviously I can't properly sell it to you because laws exist. But if you give me in character money, it counts as a gift. Hence why a lot of these make sense. So it kind of gets around that.
Just to check.
Even then, there is, as a thing, there is a correlation.
Yeah.
To an
Yeah.
extent, yeah.
But like,
Although
the same...
I don't think the people who are the richest are people who have owned like bars and stuff. They make a decent amount of money from it, but you mostly get it through trading resources and making connections.
Yeah.
100%.
Like again, there is a limit to that.
These, like, this isn't worth much. These are worth a lot. For example,
Even though, like, 100%, if you invest more into the game, yeah, you'll benefit from it even if you're spending real money. But it's not really a bad thing because like yeah, that sounds like you're paying to win, right? But you're not.
Well,
What's
because it's not
actually
winning.
well, you know,
No.
winning. But what's
Yeah.
actually happening is you're getting rewarded with the in-game money for
Mm.
making the game better for fucking everyone else around you because that's what you're
Yeah.
doing.
That's the way to
People
think
who run
about
a bars are absolute saints. The fact they do that is amazing.
Because
Because
they
at
don't
the
get
end of
to
the day,
don't
you're
do
you're
other
getting a full night out, getting absolutely pissed if you want to, for free.
it. Pretty
Yes.
much.
It's
It's
great.
great.
Like
That then.
and like all the people who go around selling like, oh, here is a bunch of food that I've made for like, here's it for you in-game fucking
George made
cheap-ass
cake last year.
money.
I did that.
George made brownies. We
I
went to
made
one
brownies.
place.
Yeah,
They had
they're really nice.
homemade fudge.
Yeah, their bags of
Oh.
homemade fudge. It was
There was fudge?
homemade chocolate fudge.
It was the nicest
I think I missed
I've
the
ever eaten.
fudge.
It was a
It was
crown,
Ichu.
right?
To be, oh
Took
my,
crown
to
for
be
a
fair, that's pretty
massive
well.
bag of it.
Yeah, there was one of the bars that we know from friends that were within Dawn but moved to a different nation,
Oh, there was
where they
bar,
made
yeah.
most of their
the
money
passion.
off of their bar. Yeah, they made most of their money not by selling drinks, but by making people bet
Spin
money
the
on the
wheel.
spinning the wheel. They had a
The
wheel that
gacha.
you could spin with things on it to win
Don't
prizes.
get Empire.
Only a single result on there
Was a prize.
was a profit.
Yeah, it was. You get
Is
a
that the
full
one that
bottle of
you got?
mead.
Yeah, which I got. I spun once and I got it. Didn't really like the mead afterwards, but that's
Speedrun
fine.
it.
Yeah, but then everyone else,
this-
it's like drink a certain amount of shots, and they would be like, it's just more just to get you drunk.
Yeah, but the
Or
thing
you
is-
owe the snake a favor.
Oh shit! I forgot about that one.
Yeah,
Wait, what?
Okay, so one of the results of
That's
the
the first
wheel was you owe the snake a favor.
One of the
and
characters, yeah,
them
one of the guys is nicknamed
One of
the
the- yeah.
Snake.
No, his name is
Fantastic.
he's Donatello the snake, right?
Yes.
And
That's so good.
basically, every nation has egregores, and they are the spirit of the nation. They are crew members who play within their nation, and they're there to guide all the players. and
Which
make
is
sure
what I
the
mentioned
plays
when
properly.
I mentioned the
And they
earlier.
kind of
That's what the name is.
cement the
Yeah.
brief a little bit for that nation.
They had two of the egregores spin on their wheel. Both of them owe him a favor. They are they are two of the
Oh,
most powerful
fuck.
people in the game, technically. Like, especially one of them is the Reckoner. He's like
Yeah,
terrifying.
the League egregores are really cool, and
Yeah.
they're like actually kind of scary.
But the funny thing with that wheel was like, I think it was like 5 rings to spin on it or something like that.
Yeah.
So you'd spin on it and you'd get, oh, do 3 shots. It's like, oh, okay, cool. That's actually quite good profit, right? They were selling the shots for a ring each. Like,
Yeah.
you couldn't win.
It's
But
like,
no one ever
it's like
asked-
you could
no
pay
one
me
ever
for
asked
this
that.
thing, or you could use the mystery box. And you're like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I want to know what's in that box.
It's
Yeah.
because like
It
so
was
in
so
some places
smart.
a drink might cost 5 rings, right?
Yeah.
Oh, they were the cheapest place in the. They were the cheapest place.
But no, there are things that are like that. Obviously, if you don't drink, there are so many options still available for you. You can still have good
Yeah.
experiences.
I
I still think one of the fun
our,
times was I sat down with a the person I believe was female, but they were playing a male character because obviously you can do that. There's if you are if you identify as a different gender, you are transgender or anything that to be comfortable in yourself, there are still options for you to
Very
be
good
who
for
you
that,
want to be.
actually.
It's really inclusive for those kinds of
Yeah.
people, and I love that. So I sat down. We were in the Varushkan camp. They had this big campfire bowl thing with a big fire in it. We were singing songs. I was having a
Oh,
chat with the
I
person
mean
next to
that.
me while drinking. It was still hard to
That's
hear.
madness,
They were telling me
friends.
about the fact that, it's like, we were talking about nations and things, and then we had a discussion about his wife who had died recently, and we, like raising toasts in their honor and things like that. And it's just really good experiences of if you're playing in D&D and you're having those kind of inter-party.
No, that's matches. That's matches. I might do, don't we?
Like if you're having like inter-party things of you're just discussing, and in reality building your own character while talking to someone else who's probably doing the same.
Yeah.
You build a lot of role play, you add to it to everyone else, and you just have a great time. Like that's a lot of what it comes down to is role playing enough for you to have a good time, and by proxy, you having a good time usually means everyone else is also benefiting from it.
Mhm.
And that's
Being
what I'd
in-
say
in-
on LARP. It's oh my god, I miss it so much.
Being in Dawn is great for that sort of thing because you just sort of end up just
Doing stuff.
in and around people's beef with each other.
I ended up starting a fight once for a garden. That was fun. I
There
was
like-
bamboozled into a game with the Navari, but the reward, which I did actually end up winning, was a garden, which was a resource that we could use. But like, because noticing the time, we should probably start wrapping up. There are so many ways to get into it. There are very cheap options.
Yep.
to be
It
able
didn't
to do that
cost
kind
me-
of thing.
My Unjust Soft Kit was pretty.
I
cheap
bought a
this
lot
round.
because I have a spending problem.
Yeah.
So hence why I like. To be fair, I didn't buy
Welcome to the
armor.
channel.
I bought a Gambison, so I still had light armor on. I bought a 300-pound count like in character tent, which I didn't need to. But I didn't also own a tent anyway, so it was like meh. And then I bought my sword. I bought my weapons there, and a lot of it was just stuff I wanted to buy. You can throw as much money as this as you want to, because in reality it is a hobby. But just because someone has spent more money than you doesn't mean they're a better role player than you or they're having a better time. You put
And
in what you
also,
put out. Like
chances are, if you look at someone and you think, man, their kit is incredible,
They probably made it themselves.
or they've
they
done it for
pro-
years.
they haven't more than likely dropped like loads amount of money on that in one go. They've been there a little while.
And if you're
probably.
really, really,
You just-
really
you just build on what
self-conscious
you
about
got.
money, go to the marches in your pants.
Sorted.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's genuinely one man when it was the wettest event we went to in his pants, and he
It
just
was like
fucking dive bombed into
it
a
was like
swimming
a
pool of fucking.
Oh yeah,
Womp.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
It was a
was-
massive mud puddle that he just went. Wettest. Who wants to see the wettest man in at Anvil? And everyone
was
paid
just-
him money.
Yeah, people
jump
were
into the
paying him
pool.
to jump into the puddle, and he
Oh,
did.
Yeah.
Here you
made-
go. You don't have to spend real money to get money off people, because you can just
Jump in a puddle.
jump
Because
in a
I guess
massive
no
puddle
one
and
sees
make.
it as real money. Well, I get,
They see it as
Yeah.
money in character, unless you're a Dornish noble.
they see it as expendable, like sort of
As just
spendable
fun
income.
coins.
Yeah,
It's
fun
just
bucks.
whatever. They're just coins. I don't
Yeah,
know
exactly.
What this is for. People gave him loads of money. He ended up making 3 thrones, which is a shit ton of money, or to 5, even a lot of money, and just jumped into this massive puddle and was absolutely caked in it. It was funny.
Oh,
It's so
God,
stupid.
yeah.
I'm
Wettest
gonna
man
have
at
to
Empire.
call it a night, guys.
Yeah, so
Yeah,
we'll
100%.
all wrap it up there. So yeah, no, fun. The main thing, LARP is fun. Here's hoping it comes back soon and can be done safely. I wouldn't recommend going it until like maybe September. We'll see how it goes, but check out all the links in the description below related to that. And apart from that, thank you all very much for watching the podcast. There's not much else we could really add. Obviously, look at us on all our socials on Twitter and Instagrams. YouTube as well. Videos are going to be coming out very shortly. We got our How to Drukhari video coming up in the next couple of days. And then our competitive video hopefully coming out next week at time of recording. I think that's everything I've covered.
Yeah,
I think that's
good.
it.
We'll
Think
probably
so.
see you guys on the weekend for some Age of Sigmar battles because I really want to play. And I think we were kind of discussing that, but we're going to try and do that more often. So stay tuned on our socials for when we start doing that kind of thing. Make sure to drop a follow, subscribe to us on YouTube, and we will see you next time.
There you go.
Yeah.
Cheers all.
Yeah.
Good night.